Tour started, the Marlins were scuffling. They were 6 under. But San Francisco, San Diego, and Houston were just what the ball club needed. They scratched, clawed, stole, pitched, and homered their way to an 8-1 trip. The best road trip ever. Now the fun starts. The Mets are here, and they are just as hot. So come on in. It's a 3-gamer. Mets and Marlins tonight.
It is great to be back home. That's what the Miami Marlins said when they walked into Marlins Park. As the weekend starts, the Mets arrive, the red-hot Mets, who have won 5 in a row. But, of course, the Fish coming off a great homestand. And here they are tonight, the Marlins and the Mets. And we're joined by a former Marlin and a Met. Preston Wilson is with us. Tommy, we've added an extra bat just for the series.
Well, we like that because at times the offense did struggle a little bit, even though they hit some home runs. Nice to have a bat, and also nice to have a good rivalry, I think, brewing with the Mets and the Marlins.
I love this series. You know, I grew up watching the Mets, watching my dad play, and then playing for the Marlins. I got a chance to play the Mets so many times, and with that divisional foe coming in here, you really love playing them, and I look forward to the series.
Okay, now explain to me, both of you, how the Marlins went 8-1 on this road trip, because the numbers, when you look at them, it's like, wait a minute, how did they do it, Tommy?
Really hard to figure out. One of the things I mentioned, the home runs seem to be at the right time, and the Marlins certainly did that, out-homering 10-2. And then you have to look at the pitching, a 2.07 ERA. But they got some hits, they got some breaks. Things kind of fell into place is the best way to put it.
And Preston, they got some great pitching on the trip.
Oh, the starting pitching's been awesome. I mean, you look at what the guys did out there, and they kept the team in the game every time. The bullpen also, for the most part, did a great job. To me, I think another key factor was the defense that the team played. They caught the ball a whole lot better. They didn't give extra outs, and they were able to get the team on and off the field. Pitchers didn't have to work too hard.
Speaking of pitchers, a premier matchup to open up this series. Left-handers are on the menu, and real good ones. Johan Santana's been great against the Fish. Mark Buehrle's been very good as a Marlins starter.
Buehrle coming off that complete game in San Diego, faced the Mets in New York. He'd like a little redemption. He'd like to pick up a win tonight.
And Santana, always tough.
He's a master out there. He throws the ball in and out, changes the zone with his fastball up in his zone, down with his changeup, and he makes it tough on hitters.
When we get back, Mr. Clutch, Omar Infante had a terrific trip. We'll talk to Craig and Niner when we return as the Marlins get set to take on the Mets.
the red-hot Marlins out on the plaza to get us started. Craig Minervini, Jeff Conine. Gentlemen.
And we thought we were going to be red hot out here too, Rich, but actually not too bad. We got a little cover.
Not terrible.
Although the roof is closed for baseball. All right, Jeff, Omar Infante will bat second here. He's been huge for the Marlins. You knew he was going to be great defensively, but the surprising part, he's tied for 10th in the league in homers. Some of the key hits he's had, really amazing. Look at this stat.
Huge hits. So we talk about the Marlins offense, which has really been struggling, especially with men in scoring position, last in all of baseball in that category. You look at this graphic, big hits from Omar Infante season, 15 RBIs. 14 of those have given the Marlins a lead.
He's hit the Mets very well in his career, but he's hitting everybody this year with those big hits, either beating them out in the infield. And it's such a really a big thing for the Marlins because the other guys haven't been hitting, generally speaking.
He's been the one really consistent hitter in this lineup so far, and he's hitting everything. You see these graphics with fastballs in, curveballs away. He's been a master at putting the barrel on the ball and hitting the ball all over the field, which has been huge for this team.
Fastest to 6 homers for him, 59 games in his career. He's only in his 28th game. Tonight he's already had 6 homers, and he's hitting .341 against the Mets, and that's the 4th best ever. And Gabby Sanchez in the company. He's hit .354.
And
Jeter.
Guess who we're playing? The Mets. What great timing.
Good timing. Jeter's the other one, along with Todd Helton in that company. We'll see Niner in our post game. We're looking forward to this series. Game 1 of 3. Hey, Mets had the Marlins number. They played well. They got big hits at Citi Field. They swept the Marlins, but that was April. This May Marlins team looks like a different one. We'll find out what's in store for Game 1 with Rich and Tommy next.
Pinch a Penny, proud to bring you the first pitch of tonight, first pitch of the series. Andres Torres takes a strike. Mark Burley has begun. Glad you're with us tonight from Marlins Park. Mets and Marlins 4-3. The Mets are hot. They are 18-13. They've won 5 in a row. Mark Burley making start number 7 on the season. In the air to center field, Emilio Bonifacio wanders back and makes the catch. How have the Mets been doing it? Well, they've been getting some big hits up and down their lineup. Torres has been a spark in the leadoff spot. Daniel Murphy has always hit wherever he's been. Look at David Wright in the season he's having. Lucas Duda had some big hits in the Phillies series. Scott Hairston's in left field. Ike Davis finally broke through with a 3-run homer in Philly. Ronnie Cedeno, Mike Nikias behind the plate. And Johan Santana hits 9th. And this is Murphy taking a fastball for a strike. Lefties on the menu tonight.
One of the things the Mets have done, they've been doing it as a team. They really have attributed their success to all 25 players. And the Mets are 13-5 against the National League East coming into this game tonight.
Terry Collins deserves an awful lot of credit as well. Collins squeezing the very most he can out of this ball club. Known as a terrific manager. And he took over a real tough situation, Preston, a situation where the Mets downsizing in terms of salary. A lot of stars headed out of New York. Collins has to play a lot of the homegrown kids. He's done a terrific job with that.
You've seen a case of players really buying into what the manager is trying to teach them, and it's a credit to him and to the players for buying into it.
0-2.
Hey, to their credit, Rich, they also have some key players on the disabled list. Jason Bay is on the DL. Mike Pelfrey's out for the season. One of their starters, Ruben Tejada, the young shortstop, is on the disabled list.
Josh Tolley, their regular catcher, out with a concussion. Murphy lines it to right. What's new? Daniel Murphy, a line drive single to right. So he's aboard. David Wright's coming up. And here's the defense for the Fish.
Yeah, we'll take a look at that defense with Austin Kearns is playing in left field, not Logan Morrison, Bonifacio and Stanton. Hanley and Reyes, Infante and Gabby. Gabby 5 for 8 in his career against Santana. And John Buck, who had a nice series in Houston behind the plate.
Crowd still arriving here on a Friday night, and David Wright settles in. One of the keys to the Mets' success has been David Wright taking the title and the mantle of leader, Preston, and running with it. He's done a nice job.
Well, I was down on the field earlier, and he just looked so much more comfortable in that leadership role. When Reyes was there, he and Reyes kind of shared that responsibility, but now he's the elder statesman. He's the guy who's, making sure things are done right. He has the credentials to get on guys if they're not playing hard, and I think he's relishing that role.
It's kind of the last guy standing, Tommy, from that 2006 team that came within a run or two from getting to the World Series. It's a left, and there's a look at Austin Kearns. So Kearns makes the catch. Burley always working quickly. Now runs into Lucas Duda.
Couple of lefties tonight that'll keep hitters off balance.
Oh, absolutely. I think Burley is doing a good job already moving the ball in and out. He gave up the hit to Murphy. That ball was a little bit more up than he wanted to be. But, the 2 fly balls that he got has been just finished Mark Burley already.
Lucas Duda, big left-handed hitter out of USC. He's another one of the homegrown Mets. Duda 26. Got 300 at bats last year. 4 homers. Has driven in 16 this year.
In getting an opportunity to watch a Mark Burley, this is 7th start as a Marlin. The thing that impresses me is that for a guy who is not overpowering, I think it's a great lesson for all pitchers. He's not overpowering, but he does not mind pitching inside. He'll come inside.
You have to, and I think a lot of pitchers learn that a little bit too late in their career. He picked it up early, and it's been great for him.
And he has one of the best pickoff moves in the game, and he gets Daniel Murphy. Mets are done in the top of the first, bottom of the first. Marlins get their first swing. Daniel Murphy. And so the Marlins will come to the plate with a little bit of a lineup change late. Jose Reyes, of course, the former Met. Omar Infante is up in that 2 spot. Hanley Ramirez will hit 3rd. And it's Kearns who takes Morrison's spot in the cleanup position. Giancarlo Stanton is in right field. Gabby Sanchez at first base. Emilio Bonifacio in center field. John Buck does the catching, and Burley will hit 9th.
This is a lineup and a pitcher that the Marlins are going to really have to grind out some at-bats. It's a lineup that has not had success against Johan Santana. He's 6-1 with a 1.46 ERA in his career against the Marlins. And you look down the lineup and you look at what they've done individually against Santana. Collectively, the lineup's under 200 with a batting average. So they're going to have to grind out some at-bats.
Probably find a lot of National League lineups that are under 200 against Santana.
Yeah, a few American League ones, too.
Reyes, Infante, and Hanley. Of course, this is the second time that Reyes has seen the Mets in the regular season. Saw him in spring training and saw him certainly in that series in New York in which the Mets swept the Marlins. A couple of one-run games. Some bullpen meltdowns. And the Mets, who were playing well at the time, swept the fish. Ozzie Guillen watching. Reyes trying to get on base against Santana. Liner to center. Torres in, now back, and reaches. It's over his glove. And off the wall. And off to the races is Reyes. And he's at 3rd base.
What a difference a series makes. Remember up at Citi Field, first AB for Jose Reyes against the Mets. Crowd wanted to see what he was going to do. He hit a shot to left center. Kirk Neuenhuis robbed him. This one, instead of Torres making the catch, it's just off his glove, over his head. What a difference to start the game this way.
As soon as that ball left the bat, I knew that center fielder was in trouble. And when you see both hands kind of go up when you're starting to retreat for the ball, it's a tough way to catch.
And so Santana, who's allowing just 2.5 runs a game, and in his career against the Marlins, a 1.46 ERA, already has a runner at 3rd base, nobody out. The infield's back, and here is Infante. First pitch fouled back.
These are the at-bats when young hitters that they have to understand that this is a situation where even though you'd love to get a hit, you don't need to get a hit.
Jose Reyes with 16 triples last year. On the move and fun to watch go. That's his 3rd triple this year.
Infante had a road trip filled with big hits like this. To left, and it's going to fall. Another RBI. And that puts the Marlins on top. Infante had 3 RBI hits on the road trip to give the Marlins the lead. The only difference was, Tommy, those hits came late in ball games. This opens this ball game.
Well, batting in the number 2 spot, just reaches out, got a change up. He kept his hands back. He was a little bit fooled, but dropped it into shallow left field just right.
Yeah, that's a welcome sight. I know Mark Burley's in the dugout feeling a lot better about that. You know, he's gone out there a few times and hasn't had any runs to work with. Now we get him at least 1 early run. Hopefully we can tack on some more, but that's a big relief on a starter when he's not pitching from tied or behind early in the game.
Hanley Ramirez now. You got Austin Kearns behind him. Santana a look at Infante, and he'll go over there. Marlins continue to pace the majors in stolen bases. And if there is one thing that really helped them on a road trip where they were lacking clutch hits, the Marlins were 161 with runners in scoring position. The Marlins stole 14 bases. And they hit 10 home runs. Most of them coming in very opportune times. Marlins 34 stolen bases. They've been caught just 6 times. Reyes himself has 8 of those stolen bases.
One of the differences in these 2 clubs, certainly the Mets with the 11 stolen bases, they've been caught 9 times.
Santana checks in. He'll go over to first. Of course, the shoulder surgery, so much different than Tommy John surgery, a longer road back. And for Santana, trying to get back to the form that he had when he was a Minnesota Twin, when he started his Mets career. He misses away. Four-time All-Star, two-time unanimous Cy Young Award winner, 2004 and 2006, both of those with Minnesota.
That's the beauty of this matchup tonight. In 2005, Santana was third in the Cy Young voting. Mark Burley was fifth.
One to Hanley. Preston, as a hitter, you've watched Hanley this year. He's had some hot spurts, but still really has yet to bust out.
Well, what I see with him is I see inconsistency in this setup. You know, I think he's trying to get a feel for what's going to work right now. The last homestand, he was closed. When we went on the road, his front foot had opened up to kind of try to give him a better look. He's closed again now. I think the big thing is his timing, getting that foot down on time.
That one fouled back and out of play.
Haven't had a chance to check on that Mets defense. There's Scott Harrison, Andres Torres, Lucas Duda in right field, David Wright, Ronnie Cedeno, Daniel Murphy, and Mike Davis. And Mike Nickius is the catcher.
Just underway if you're happening by tonight. Terrific matchup. Mark Burley, Johan Santana, red hot Marlins, red hot Mets. First of a three-game series. Mets' first visit to Marlins Park. Santana over to first again. Infante not really a base-stealing threat, though the Marlins have started him on a couple of occasions. He still has a little bit of tightness in that groin.
I think if it gets to 3-2, we might see Infante on the move. Santana's move is just okay. Nothing of the Mark Burley nature.
Not much is of the Burley nature when it comes to pickoff moves or fielding his position, although we got two Gold Glovers out there. Santana won a Gold Glove, and Burley has 3 of them.
Well, now we'll find out if Infante does. Now, in a case of a runner in this situation, you don't want to get picked off. You're probably not going to get a great jump. You just want to be on the move, so that puts a little pressure on Hanley to make contact if the ball's in the strike zone.
Yeah, you definitely just got to make sure the pitcher commits home. You know, he's understanding the situation. Can't try to do too much right here.
Not running and a swing and a miss.
Good choice by Ozzie. He knows Santana's a strikeout guy, so he had Infante stay put.
Well, Santana did a great job just now by setting up the pitch, the strikeout pitch. He threw the fastball in to get Hanley thinking him to speed his bat up a little bit. Then he dropped a 3-2 changeup on him. That's just great pitching right there.
That shows you that Santana will throw that changeup any time.
And I guess it illustrates, guys, that you don't have to have the fastball that he had before the shoulder surgery to get guys out, because he's still about 2-3 miles an hour shy of where he was before he left the game. And here's Kearns.
You know, I give Johan a lot of credit, because it takes a certain level of intelligence and thought to say, you know what, I don't have the stuff that I had before. Now I have to pitch differently in order to have success, and he's done that.
Kearns takes a strike, and it's 0-2.
Check out that scouting report for Johan Santana, 33-year-old lefty, brought to you by Coventry Healthcare. He is deceptive with that short arm delivery. The change has kind of a screwball action, kind of fades away to righties, and he'll pitch in that 87 to 90 range.
Infante still at first. Marlins have a run. A Reyes triple to open the game. Infante followed with a bloop hit to left.
Reyes had been 2 for 15 against Santana. A lot of hitters have not hit well.
Reyes, you know, very quietly had a nice road trip. His on-base percentage was .400 in the 9 games.
I really felt like I saw Reyes starting to get better at bats. Earlier in the season, he was hitting a lot of balls off the end, and I felt like his swing was going in and out of the zone too quickly. Now, I feel like he's a little bit more settled in his setup, and he's starting to swing through the ball and hitting the ball all over the place. So I look for him to have better and better at bats as the season goes along.
I think he's the least of Ozzie Guillen's concerns right now.
You know he's going to be fine. He's a great player.
2-2 coming. In the dirt, Infante's running, and the throw is late. And Infante got a terrific jump. He's had about 10 minutes worth of watching Santana. A great read and a great jump.
A lot of looks, and he did get a good jump, and I think a lot of that was being a good student. He studied his delivery and his move and got a good jump there at the second stolen base.
And the importance of getting the stolen base with just one out. Now he gives both Kearns and Giancarlo Stanton an opportunity to drive home another run. Count's full. Fastball, fly ball, deep left field. Back goes Hairston at the wall. Gone! Nothing Fish. Just the second home run that Santana has given up this year. And how about that for a late lineup change?
Well, we saw the 3-2 changeup that Santana threw to Hanley to strike him out. He tried to sneak the fastball by Austin Kearns 3-2. Kearns didn't get the changeup, and Kearns was ready for the fastball.
Giancarlo Stanton now goes after the first pitch, pops it foul.
All right, this right here, you see Austin Kearns sitting all over that thing, and he turns on it right on the sweet spot, drills it over to the Clevelander. Somebody's got a hamburger and a baseball right now.
It's a Clevelander home run, and the party has already begun there.
Oh!
That one is deep, but hooking towards the line. Hairston is over, leaps, and he got it. Wow, he climbed the wall, disappeared from view, and emerged with a baseball.
Already we're seeing guys take better swings off Johan Santana than we saw the first time when they faced him in New York. Looks like the guys have done their homework a little bit and understanding more of what he was trying to do.
Well, in that game, just 3 hits and a run in 6 2/3. So 3 hits already, 3 runs here in the first. Good play by Hairston. He can play all over.
Put that man anywhere.
Put his brother anywhere. Jerry, who's been playing the heck out of third base for the Dodgers.
Tell you what, that family's done a lot of good things out there on the baseball field. That's impressive to see 2 brothers be able to do so many things that well on the field.
Gabby Sanchez takes a strike to Austin Kearns with a 2-run homer. Triple by Reyes. Infante an RBI single. And a 3-0 start for the Marlins here on a Friday night in Miami. That's right on the corner. Gabby Sanchez trying to find his groove right now.
Yeah, I think he's kind of maybe going up there, maybe overthinking it a little bit. You know, he felt comfortable early, starting to get some hits, and then now I think he's in that phase where he's kind of uncertain of what he's trying to do. He's just got to get back to seeing the ball, driving it to the big part of the field. He's a good enough hitter where things are going to work out if he just if he continues to be himself. That's it.
So much of this is a mental game. Preston can attest to that. Gabby has hit well against Santana, 5 for 8. He also is a .354 career hitter with 8 home runs against the Mets. So he's got a couple of good things going for him.
Sometimes you just need that right team to come in town or for you to go see them for things to get going.
Cedeno, a strong throw, and gets him by a step. What a start for the Marlins, who had a great road trip, and they kick off the homestand with a 3-run first. Reyes, Infante, and then Kearns. High definition brought to you by H.H. Gregg. Mark Burley. Our Coventry Healthcare second inning and a 3-0 Marlins lead. Lucas Duda back to the plate and he takes outside. Duda was at the plate when Daniel Murphy was picked off to finish the first. Scott Hairston, Ike Davis coming up for the Mets. Mets coming off a 3-game sweep in Philadelphia. Duda had some big hits in that sweep, and he pulls that one foul. A lot of comebacks for the Mets in that Phillies sweep. And significantly, Tommy, they didn't give losses to these guys, but they won games in a Roy Halladay start, in a Cliff Lee start, and a Joe Blanton start. So they faced 2 of the big 3 and won those ball games.
Yeah, you talk to a lot of people who follow the Mets, and they will tell you that Terry Collins is certainly a big part of that. Terry Collins, second year Mets manager, but had success where he was before. He had success with the Angels. He had success when he was in Houston.
Breaking ball hit hard and into right field, a base hit for Lucas Duda.
You know, Terry Collins has got to be happy about that. I was down on the field talking to him earlier, and he was like, we're playing well, we're managing, trying to get things going, but if we can get Duda and Ike Davis going, I feel like our team will be much better. And, you know he's got to feel good about that.
Interesting, the left-handers with the 2 hits have had good swings against Mark Burley. Murphy and Duda with the 2 hits.
Here is Scott Hairston. Davis to follow. The Mets sit at 18-13. Last year at this time, they were 13-18. And Hairston takes outside. Preston, you talked about his family, and it goes further than his brother Jerry, who's a junior, than his dad Jerry, who played in the big leagues a long time. It goes all the way back to his grandfather Sam, who was the first African-American player for the White Sox. Bouncer to short. Reyes Infante.
What a beautiful sight to see if you're a Marlins fan, especially if you're Mark Burley. Nice big hop for Jose, and then the quick turn by Omar Infante. There's the big hop. Watch the turn.
If Marlins fans don't know it now, they're going to shortly see how well Infante turns a double play at the bag. He's one of the best around the bag.
Ike Davis. The Mets have been waiting for Ike Davis's bat to spark to life. And maybe it has, because a 3-run home run in the last game in Philadelphia was a big blow. Kearns under it, makes the catch. Burley working quickly, as he always does. And the Marlins are off to a 3-0 start against the Mets.
Healthcare of Florida. And SAP por Coventry Healthcare of Florida.
On the concourse, Marlins Park. Marlins and Mets, first of a 3-game weekend series. Mark Burley gets the ball against Johan Santana to open up the weekend. 1 o'clock game tomorrow, 1 o'clock game on Sunday. Emilio Bonifacio takes outside from Johan Santana. Bonifacio, John Buck, and Mark Burley. Ozzie Guillen trying to take some of the pressure off of Bonifacio, has dropped him from the 2 spot, trying to get him to relax at the plate. And this is a tough guy to relax against, because Bonifacio from the right side of the plate is really, really scuffling. He's hitting just 156 from this side of the plate with an on-base percentage of 208. Slice to right.
You know, sometimes that's a problem for switch hitters. They don't get to practice that much from the other side.
Saturday Spectacular is tomorrow, and remember, it's a 1 o'clock start against the Mets. Party starts on the West Plaza at 11 with music, entertainment, and fun for the entire family. Arrive early for an autograph session with a Marlins player. Call 1-877-MARLINS or go to marlins.com. And here is John Buck. High pop-up. Wright is back. Cedeno behind him, and it's Cedeno who makes the catch. See, next time you're on, Preston, I'm going to make you read this. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Miami Marlins, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. Santana has a couple of quick outs, and here's Burley.
They don't have to read that on Marlins Live, do they?
No, we haven't come across that one yet.
That's because people are able to disseminate and replay.
Well, people have always been able to disseminate, Craig.
And show the pregame and postgame as much as they want. It's just the in-game stuff, apparently, the suits have trouble with. Santana with a fastball, and Burley a swing and a miss, and it's 0-2 quickly. Mark has a hit in 14 at-bats, and he flips that one foul. Watching Burley take batting practice is fun. And in fact, whenever Burley takes batting practice, he's got Ozzie Guillen on the cage. And it obviously has to go back to their White Sox days, but Guillen rides him incessantly during BP.
And I'll tell you something right there. Burley showed me something. He's not giving Johan an inch. He said, we had a short inning. We're getting out of here.
3-0. Marlins on top. Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer today for great deals on an amazing lineup of Toyota vehicles. Toyota, moving forward. By AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. Night falling on Miami. Roof is closed, windows closed. And the Marlins are on top of the Mets. Ronnie Cedeno, Mike Nickias, and Johan Santana against Mark Burley, who has picked off a runner and been able to get a double play, so he has faced the minimum through 2.
Yeah, Rich, what I was saying before we went off the last inning is Burley saw that the first couple hitters only had a couple pitches. I think it was a 2-pitch and a 1-pitch at bat. He was not going to swing at the first pitch. He's like, Johan, I'm going to make you work just as hard as I have to, make you throw a couple extra pitches.
Great changeup. Both these pitchers do, as well as pitch, do all the other things extremely well. Field their position, smart.
What they do is they raise the bar for the other pitchers because they care so much about the little things. The other pitchers have to work hard on their defense, hard on their bunting. You know, so it really raises the level of everything for the pitchers when they have someone like Mark Burley to watch.
Wade just blew a fastball by Cedeno. We didn't see Cedeno in New York. He was on the disabled list with a calf injury, and it's quite a change for Ronnie Cedeno, who played last night for Port St. Lucie on a rehab assignment. And now here he is in Miami.
Yeah, with Ruben Tejada out, Jordany Valdespin, who had an enormous home run in the Phillies series, a pinch hit 3-run homer that won a ball game, which was his first major league hit.
And his only, to this point, major league hit. That kind of shows you how things have been going for the Mets.
Hey, if you're going to get one, make it count.
There's Mike Nickias. Josh Tolley had a play at the plate in which he took a shoulder from Ty Wigington of the Phillies and was placed on the 7-day concussion disabled list. The Mets are not sure if he'll be ready to go in 4 days when that 7 days is up.
Yeah, that's a recent disabled list for concussions. In the past, if you went on the disabled list, it was for 14 days.
You know, I'm glad that the league is being proactive about the concussion thing. We saw with Michael Deaney, Jim Edmonds, they had some concussion issues that lingered a long time, so it's good that Major League Baseball is stepping in and taking care of these guys, making sure that they're healthy when they get back on the field.
Speaking of taking care, this season Fox Sports is proud to support Boys and Girls Club of America, a place where youth can reach their full potential as productive, caring, responsible citizens. To learn more, please visit greatfutures.org/Fox Sports. Santana now. Let's see if he can make Burley work a bit.
Even though Burley's given up 2 hits, he's just faced the minimum. Picked off a runner, got the double play.
Reyes behind the bag, whips it across. Burley is in a nice groove. The Fish have given him a 3-run lead in Miami.
Marlins coming up here. Bottom of the third. I'm with Juan Guerrero from Office Depot. This is a great night, Juan. We're not going to talk about your pitch yet because Office Depot is bringing in tonight 700 teachers, tickets, gifts, great stuff.
That's right. That's right. We're so happy to be here and be able to recognize all the teachers in the immediate area. But you know, it's a really special night for us. There's 700 teachers here. They have their guests with them. It's a lot of fun, and it's a great opportunity to recognize some people that do a great job for us.
Yeah, prior to the game, you honored 4 distinct teachers from Monroe, from Broward, from Miami-Dade, and Palm Beach County on the field with a special presentation from Office Depot. And then you also got a chance to throw out the first pitch. Now, we'll have to look at this after the pitch if we get a chance. And did the official score say this was a pass ball or a wild pitch?
It was a little to the outside, but you know, anything can happen. When they call it wide, you throw it wide, right?
That's right. Hey, you call a pitch out, the catcher wasn't aware of it. Why does Office Depot do this with teachers? Why is this part of what you guys do?
You know, it's an honor to be able to recognize teachers. They're so committed to what they do with our children. But more importantly, we found that in the data that they're spending a lot of their own money. They spend almost $600 of their own money buying supplies for the classroom. And so we want to be able to do everything we can to be able to help them with that, especially with tight budgets the way they are right now. So we've created a new program for teachers. It's exclusive for teachers, and it's called the STAR Loyalty Program, STAR Teacher Loyalty Program. It's fantastic. Tonight it was a partnership with the Marlins to be able to do the recognition and do the program.
Well, great to see you here. Thanks for bringing out some of the most important members, I think, of society, the teachers who help our kids. Huh?
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, it's another way to say thank you to the community as well.
All right, thanks to Juan Guerrero and Office Depot as well, guys.
Thank you, Craig. Omar Infante smacks one into center field, a base hit. Infante an RBI single back in the first. That followed a Reyes triple. Austin Kearns would add a 2-run homer. And that's how the Marlins have built a 3-0 lead over the Mets.
Rich, on a non-baseball topic, to follow up with the Office Depot people Craig was talking to, I just had a thought. How nice is it now for groups and people that come out with the retractable roof to have a nice ceremony on the field to make their opening pitch? And I thought Billy should have made that play, by the way. And to do that and not have to wait for a rain delay or not have to wait around or throw in the rain.
Nice throw to first. Here's a theme that we're starting to see, and that is hitters that have not hit Santana well in their career have big hits tonight. Infante well below 200 against him in his career. He's 2 for 2, and of course you noted Kearns was 2 for 15, and he has a 2-run homer.
Jose Reyes was 2 for 15, or 1 for 7, excuse me. So he hadn't hit him too well. The most at bats by Infante, he's got 44 at bats against Santana.
Hanley Ramirez in the Cholula hot sauce spotlight on the road trip. He made his hits count. 5 of 10 were for extra bases, a couple of home runs. He struck out back in the first. Santana watching Infante. In on the hands, looks like 2. Cedeno has the double play, and Santana gets a 6-3 double play. And the Marlins are done in the third. On to the fourth in a 3-0 game. Mets and Marlins for the first time at Marlins Park. And Mark Burley, who seemingly is out there 30 seconds after the final out, ready to throw the first pitch. Andres Torres, Daniel Murphy, David Wright, top of the order for the Mets. Jose Reyes to first in time. Johan Santana, we talked about doing all the little things right. He did another little thing right.
Well, this is something that a lot of pitchers have to learn to do, and this is great reactions, controlling yourself by not stabbing at that ball, realizing where the defense is playing, letting your guys turn a double play behind you. That's a great job on the mound by Johan right there.
Yeah, every once in a while you'll see a pitcher go after it, deflects the ball. It's an infield base hit, and everybody's safe.
Daniel Murphy singled to right. And he settles in with one out, nobody aboard.
7-game hitting streak now for Murphy.
And a broken bat there. The Jacksonville native pulls it Infante's way. And there are 2 outs. Time to flip the phone. Our AT&T trivia question. John Mayne's no-hit bid versus the Marlins in 2007 was broken up by whom in the 8th inning? I think 2007.
Oh, that's a good one. I remember that too, but I remember all but who broke up the no-hitter.
I think it was a reserve catcher. Audio clues. Thank you. David Wright takes the ball. And the reserve
You're
catcher.
talking about a reserve catcher who's with the Dodgers now? No.
So it's not Matt Trainer.
Not Matt Trainer. How about a reserve catcher that is retired now?
Crack staff unsure. Meanwhile, David Wright's got a 3-0 pitch to hack at here from Burley. And he splits the plate at 85 miles an hour. Wright flied to left. As we talked about, David Wright has done absolutely everything Terry Collins could ask for and more. Leadership, production, his defense is greatly improved this year. Into left field, a base hit. Kearns picks it up, and David Wright, who came in 4th in the National League in hitting to start the night, may have just passed John Jay with that hit. Jay 3rd.
Well, leading Major League third baseman in batting average. The other thing that's been impressive about Wright, the 2 things, they go hand in hand. He's walked 20 times. That tells me he's seeing the ball well. That's why he hit 376.
That OPS 4th in all of baseball. First pitch swing. It's off of Sanchez's glove. And Gabby gets on his feet and gets back to first base in time.
So a little 3-4-3.
Hey, see it every day. Lucas Duda bounces out. Mark Burley managing this 3-0 lead quite well. Florida, brought to you by Bennett Auto Supply. Our prices bring you in, our people bring you back. By 1-800-NEED-HELP. Accident, slip or fall, one call, that's all. 1-800-NEED-HELP. That's 800-633-3435. Gorgeous shot of downtown Miami, Marlins Park, all lit up, and with a big crowd in the house. And a big game as well, an opener of a 3-game series against the Mets. Mets' first trip in to the new park. 2 hot teams. The Mets have won 5 straight. The Marlins just went 8-1 on a 9-game, 3-city road trip through the West: San Francisco, San Diego, and Houston.
I think another reason why this is, even though it's a short homestand, important for the ball club, especially because of the way they played on the road.
I think the guys came back home with a little bit more confidence. You know, they're facing a team now that swept them. I think they're looking for a little revenge, and they feel revitalized as a ball club because of the success from the road trip.
Word from the Marlins clubhouse. Logan Morrison was in the original starting lineup in the cleanup spot. Ozzie Guillen made a lineup switch, not a scratch. Morrison is fine. He just thought, second opinion,
pretty good gut feeling
to put Kearns in there, and what do you know, Kearns hits a 2-run homer in his first AB.
Ozzie would tell you, just like he told you after the Burley performance, that's good managing. He knew he was going to hit a home run, so he put him in there. That's all there is to it.
Kearns really earned a spot with a great spring training, and he swings and misses. Santana with a strikeout. First out in the bottom of the 4th, Giancarlo Stanton. How about Brad Davis for our AT&T trivia answer? He was a reserve.
Well, that's really reaching back.
Not BD.
Not Brad Davis.
Paul
Hoover. That would really be reaching back. How about Hoover?
Stanton takes the fastball, and as I remember, it was
an infield swinging bunt. I
little
think.
dribbler up the third base line.
Yeah, it was a swinging bunt up the third base line.
Giancarlo Stanton flied to left. It's a good test for Stanton against a guy like Santana.
Yeah, both of these guys, these pitchers. Burley has 8 of 13 batters he's gotten on 3 pitches or less, and Santana 7 of 12.
Well, you see these guys and they have a plan. That time it didn't work out too well. Giancarlo slaps a single in the left, but they always have an idea about what they're trying to do, how they're trying to attack the hitters. Especially when you see Johan go in hard with a fastball, usually there's going to be a changeup coming sometime after that.
The adjustment that Stanton made, hands 4 inches back, shoulder a little bit closed, you see evidence of that?
I see that, but more so than that, I see that he's getting started earlier. You know, I think you can move your hands around, but if you're not getting ready to hit, your swing is going to look awkward. You're going to look like you're swinging too hard, pulling off balls. And now that he's getting ready earlier, he's in a set position, ready to swing, and now he's taking that full swing, and everybody's seeing what his power really is now.
Now Gabby Sanchez. Tommy, how much of an adjustment is just that, a mechanical adjustment? How much of that it turns into a mental adjustment once you make it and have success?
Well, if you make that little adjustment, a mechanical adjustment, and it pays off right away, then mentally you're good to go.
Then that's your swing for the rest of the hot streak. And I think that's what Gabby Sanchez is looking for right now. He's looking for something to hold on to.
Yeah, and Gabby needs a little luck right now. He needs one of those balls we call a little duck snort to fall over the second baseman's head, you know, or a grounder to go through the infield. He needs a little luck to go his way right now, and I think he'll start building from there.
Santana's 0-1.
The one thing, and I know we've talked about it a good part of the year, and I know Gabby knows this as well. He's not, as we have seen the last couple of years, taking the walks, maybe a little out of the strike zone. He's chasing a few more pitches out of the strike zone.
You know, Rich actually brought up a good point earlier. We were talking how Gabby's patience seems to be going and coming. And when he first came into the league, he was known as that patient hitter that would work the count. And when he got a good pitch to hit, put a good swing on it. Now he seems like he's in between, maybe even guessing a little bit.
Stands at first, 0-2 pitch. And it's a fastball up. You saw Eduardo Perez. Perez has put in a ton of time with every Marlin hitter. And hitting coaches will tell you every hitter is different. Some you can talk to directly. Some it's a psychological trick to get them to do what you're hoping for.
One of the hardest jobs of a coach is being a psychologist. You have to understand what makes each player tick and what type of approach is going to produce the results that you need.
1-2.
All the different hitting coaches you had, any ones really stand out, one that really clicked with you?
You know what? I had a couple that I really enjoyed. I like Jack Maloof when he was here before.
Sure.
Even though he was more of a technical type guy, he and I really clicked as far as trying to get the idea of what we were trying to do to translate into on-field play.
2-2. He's worked the count even. And Santana strikes him out. A pair of strikeouts around the Stanton single. You can pick up the Marlins' new 4 for $54 family pack, which includes 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 sodas, and 4 bags of chips. And it starts at just $54. The next 4 for $54 night is Tuesday. The Pirates are here. Clint Hurdle and the Pirates. Andrew McCutchen, Florida kid, will be here. Individual and group tickets available online at marlins.com.
Those lucky Pirates last night got to face Steven Strasburg. Nats won that game 4-2. Strasburg in 6 innings struck out 13.
You know, I watched that young man pitch, and he deserves every accolade that he's gotten so far. He's truly a special talent up there. The ball jumps out of his hand like very few people who've ever stood on that mound.
And that's maybe the odd thing about this whole first 5 weeks of the season. The landscape of the East is totally different than everybody thought it would be going into the season.
Well, the only team under 500 in the East, the Phillies.
Yeah, and who would have thought that?
Yeah.
You know, I don't think anybody looking at baseball would have thought that the Ryan Howard injuries, Chase Hudley injury, would have them in the position that they're in now.
And I think the Mets are a bigger surprise than the Nationals. The fact that the Mets have won 5 in a row, they already have swept 3 teams in the East: Atlanta, Miami, and on the road in Philadelphia.
Absolutely. I don't think anybody looking at baseball thinks that the Mets are going to be in the position they are with the talent, or I should say with the players that they put out there. You know, they're not considered one of the veteran or elite teams in the East, but they're right in the middle of the hunt.
Bonifacio dumps one down the right field line. It's foul.
Well, a guy on the mound is a big part of that. You go back to spring training, and there was still some doubt as to whether Santana would be able to make it through spring. Would he be on the roster when the season started? So he's been a big part of that.
We talked to Terry Collins, and he'll tell you that if the Tolleys and the Dudas and the Hairstons and the Davises and the Murphys can do the little things, and the David Wrights and the Johan Santanas and maybe the Jason Bays can do the big things like they're capable, then the Mets can stay in this.
Yeah, I think their real concern right now is Jason Bay. They have to fill that hole, and I think they're wondering, is he going to be able to get back to form?
Stanton isn't going to get back to first. Both lefties with terrific pickoff moves, and they each have picked off a runner tonight. Marlins needed a couple of arms. They brought up Chris Hatcher and Sandy Rosario, and wouldn't you know, they never needed them the rest of the way. They got a couple of complete games. Well, today the Marlins needed someone who could play center field, so Kevin Madison is up, and when he plays, it'll be his Major League debut. And Mike Dunn, the lefty, comes up as well. There's a look at Madison out of the University of North Carolina, Asheville.
Great stash, great speed.
Yes.
From Madison, too.
Our Subway, 5th inning. Now, if Brian Peterson were eligible, he probably would be here, but
because of a little more experience.
But the Marlins had sent Peterson down when they needed those 2 arms, and you have to stay down for 10 days unless there's an injury before you come back up. And there hasn't been an injury, so Peterson is still down. 0-2 to Scott Hairston. Hairston, Ike Davis, and Ronnie Cedeno for the Mets. Burley has scattered 3 hits, a single in the first, in the second, and in the fourth. And a changeup misses down low.
Oh, that's a nice shot coming in from left field.
It's a good energy in the building tonight. And Burley changing speeds, inside, outside. Time now for the Just for Men Auto Stop Foolproof Stat. David Wright. We told you about his great numbers. How about the on-base percentage? 2nd in all of baseball. The Mets can count on David Wright. You can count on Just for Men Auto Stop for foolproof results. Ike Davis now.
I like what I'm seeing out of Burley tonight. He's working up and down, top and bottom of the strike zone, as well as in and out. And he's doing it with control. And I think the Mets hitters are a little bit frustrated by what he's doing up there.
Davis rifles one to deep right, and that one's gone. Ike Davis has homered in his 2nd consecutive game. He had a 3-run shot late in the final game in the sweep at Philadelphia, and a solo shot here cuts the lead to 2. It's 3-1.
You mentioned it earlier, Rich, that they need to get Ike Davis going because he does supply at his power. Gets a hanging breaking ball. The really odd number, he has just 3 hits this year at home. An 0.61 average at home. But that was a rocket.
Oh, well, I was saying they were frustrated. I guess a hanging slider will cure pretty much most frustrations.
Yeah.
Well, here's a guy, too, that had such a freak injury, that the double ankle injury that took him out of almost the entire season last year. It was in early May. They thought he'd return after 2 or 3 weeks, and as it turned out, the injury was much more severe, and it cost him the whole season.
Well, he's a guy that they're looking to anchor that lineup. He's their big bat in the lineup, and when he's on and healthy, he's proven that he can be a presence at times.
Now Cedeno walks. And so the Mets have a base runner. Mike Nikias comes up. And for Burley, his first walk of the ball game. He has struck out 2.
And Burley, the veteran that he is, he knows that he can get right back into this inning and get out of it with the number 8 hitter and then the pitcher.
And a strike to Nikias. Burley met the Mets in New York in that 3-game sweep by the Mets. In fact, he faced R.A. Dickey and pitched well, except for one pitch he wishes he had back. And that was a David Wright 2-run homer. The Mets would go on to win the ball game 5-1.
Yeah, the only 2 runs that Burley allowed. The interesting pattern tonight, all 3 hits by the Mets from left-handers. Murphy, Duda, and the home run by Ike Davis.
Well, many managers, for a guy like a Burley or a Jamie Moyer, guys that fit the soft tossing lefty mold, will put lefties in the lineup.
I think a lot of managers feel like having that lefty in there neutralizes the changeup. And I mean, you saw there Burley went to his breaking ball, which is probably his 3rd base pitch, against Ike Davis, and Davis hit it for a home run. So you want to try to take a pitch away from a guy like that, and they did it the years before with a guy like Tom Glavine, who had such a dominant changeup. You get the lefties up there, get him to stand on top of the plate, and it really did frustrate him and took his changeup away.
To center. Bonifacio back. Cedeno tags, but he'll hold there. Bonifacio has a strong arm in center, and an infielder with a shortstop's arm, he's fit in quite nicely in center.
I think Preston can attest to this because of the spaciousness here. And you played in Denver. You know what that outfield's like. You really have to be alive on runners, know the runners on deep fly balls. Maybe they're going to tag up. You, I think, have to be more aware in a park like this.
You have to really work hard on making sure you get behind every ball possible. Because smart base runners, even though the ball may not go to the wall, the ball may be deep enough for them to tag up and even go from first base to second base. So you have to be really diligent in your work and make sure you get behind the baseball out there in the outfield.
Santana up for the second time. He bounced to short. Cedeno's at first. And Burley misses away. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. See, the windows are closed. During batting practice, roof was closed, windows were open. And I think from here on out, unless you get a real big break in the weather, it'll be like this. Stanton comes in, makes a run and catch. And Mark Burley gives up his first run of the night. Ike Davis with his 5th homer of the season. The Marlins on top of the Mets halfway through. It's Marlins, it's Mets, it's tomorrow, and it starts at 12:30 Eastern following MLB Player Poll, which airs at a special time. Check local listing for the game and start time in your area.
Rich, I have to let our fans know you're going to be doing that game with Tim McCarver. So the national game, you'll be all over it. That'll be fun.
I will be squarely on top of Tim McCarver's shoulders throughout the afternoon.
His Hall of Fame shoulders.
Yes. Taste of Miami. And a good way to go on a Friday night at Marlins Park. Subway 5th, 3-1, Fish. Bonifacio, Buck, and Burley. Chopper, it's going to be a tough play for Cedeno. Bonifacio can fly, and he's way past first.
That's a tough play for any shortstop with Bonifacio running.
So Bonifacio, a leadoff single. Marlins are at the part of their lineup now where you've got the 8-hitter and then Burley coming up.
Tell you what, Cedeno does a great job getting rid of that ball, but even with that, there's no chance to get Bonifacio with that speed going up the line.
This would be a nice little opportunity to sneak back that run, because after the first inning, Santana's really settled down.
Santana, of course, played cat and mouse with Infante back in the first. And once Infante got the hang of the move to first and to the plate, he stole second easily. Now, Bonifacio has yet to be caught this year. The leader in stolen bases, who has had trouble getting on. When he gets on, he's 15 of 15.
Yeah, that's something to be said for that, because a guy like Johan Santana, who knows he doesn't have that great of a move, a lot of times against great base stealers, they don't even like to throw over there with a decent move. They'll give you that really slow, obvious move, but they don't want that type of base stealer to get a look at their move, so they'd rather not even show it to him.
And then he changes his delivery to the plate. That last one real quick.
(2-0). Nissan leaders of the game. National League leaders. D. Gordon has been part of the Dodgers resurgence. Of course, all he has to do is get on. He doesn't have to steal. He just scores on a Matt Kemp home run.
Okay, I saw D. Gordon, and I really did not know he was a Major League Baseball player. I thought he was, one of the kids that were hanging around. It's because he's just so thin, and you see him, but he gets out there on the field, and all of a sudden you think he's about 6'5", 220, because his presence and the energy that he brings to that ball club is a whole lot bigger than his stature.
His father was a heck of a pitcher, too, Tom Gordon. Flash.
Yes, he was.
Dodgers already have a 5-game lead in the West. Buck swings, and the ball hit his leg, and it rolls out in front of the plate. And it's 2-1. And Marlins in a spot here where they'd love Bonifacio to be able to steal and give Buck a chance to drive in the run. You've got Burley up next, and then top of the order with Reyes. It's just like the old days. The National League has all the speed, and the American League doesn't. The stolen base leaders in the American League have just 8. Jamal Weeks and Desmond Jennings.
I like what Bonifacio is doing here. He's not forcing the issue. He doesn't feel it. He hasn't quite figured out the move yet, so he's not forcing it by just taking a bad jump and going. I like his patience right here at first base.
3-1 pitch. Buck fouls it back. Now, all patience aside, 3-2 is now the time to run.
It's really an interesting situation, because you'd love to get Jose Reyes up there. You'd love to get back to the top of the lineup. If by chance he's not successful, all of a sudden Santana has a chance to get out of the inning by getting Buck and then getting Burley.
Well, I say you let him go. I wasn't that impressed with that throw that Nicky has threw down there to second
I'd like
base
to see
on
him
that
go
first
too.
home base. I'd like to see him moving right here.
So it's a consensus. Bonifacio has had a consistently good lead throughout the at-bat. Buck pulls it foul. Bonifacio not running. And it's 3-2 again.
And if John Buck can stay back, there's a huge hole on the right side. Second baseman Murphy. Daniel Murphy's real close to the bag. There's a lot of room right in here.
Well, that defense tells me that he's not really going to try to throw him too many fastballs away. Usually away with Johan Santana, you're going to get that dirty changeup.
You got a dirty fastball.
Yeah, that was a two-seamer that just took off away right there. That was a great pitch.
So up comes Burley. Bonifacio's still at first. The Mets will still be here on Sunday. It's a family Sunday, and it's Mother's Day. So bring Mom out to the park. Snapshot Sunday. Moms get a Marlins charm bracelet, courtesy of Goya Foods. Moms and kids can run the bases after the game in the Diamond Dash. 1-877 Marlins. Now Burley is simply going to try to put down a bunt. And it's 1-0.
Not easy, but it makes it a little easier with Bonifacio, the runner.
Yeah, you don't have to get down that great bunt.
Doesn't have to be perfect.
There's nothing harder for a manager than having a runner on first base that doesn't run really well. Sometimes it forces him to not even put it on because you feel like you're really giving out that run at second base. But with Bonifacio there, there's a high percentage that he's going to get to second base on pretty much any decent bunt.
Up and in, and it's 2-0. Well, Santana in this one saw the Marlins jump to a 3-0 lead. The Austin Kearns 2-run homer and an Omar Infante RBI single, the big hits in the inning. He has struck out 5. He's walked no one. Burley squares again, and the 2-0. Oh, tremendous play. We told you 2 Gold Glovers, and Burley certainly can appreciate that play by Santana.
You hear us use this line a few times during the season. The only other guy that makes that play is Burley himself. That's a great effort.
Now, somewhere north of here, about an hour and a half, if he's watching, Jim Cott has a smile on his face.
Yeah, he knows the importance of fielding your position. 16 consecutive Gold Gloves, I believe it was.
Tell you what, that means a lot to your teammates too, because those guys on the field like to know that they have a pitcher out there who's willing to field his position. Too many times you see a weak lazy pop up that lands on the mound and the pitcher just runs for his life to get out of the way. The guys that are on the mound tonight are definitely not of that character. They're going to stay in there and make that play no matter what. They believe in themselves and their defense.
Now the dynamics for Bonifacio have certainly changed with Reyes at the plate.
Well, and you also now you get into that situation. You do take a shot with Bonifacio. You hope he steals it, but if he doesn't, you've got Reyes leading off the inning.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if Ozzie has the hold on right here. I just think Bonnie's having a tough time figuring the move out.
Reyes swings and misses.
And that's a good point, what Preston said. Bonifacio has the green light, but Ozzie does have the authority to put the red light on, to say hold it.
I just watching Ozzie there, he looks like he's ready to see Bonifacio run. Actually was ready probably 7 or 8 pitches ago. Now Santana goes over to first.
If you're having trouble with the move and the delivery, is it to Bonifacio's credit just to go on first movement because he has such good speed?
Yeah,
give it a shot.
As a base stealer, there's definitely sometimes where you know if the manager wants you to go, even if you don't feel it, you have to guess. And yeah, if the manager wants you to go, even though you don't feel it, you guess and try to make it happen.
He's running, and he's in there. 16 of 16 to open the season is Bonifacio.
Not a great jump, but certainly good enough, and a good one off Santana, who's really kind of baffled him since he's been on the bag. So a hard slide, throw kind of tailed a little bit.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying earlier. I wouldn't mind to see him go simply because I wasn't that impressed with the throw earlier from Nikias. You know, he does have a decent arm, but I don't see him throwing out Bonifacio on even a mediocre jump.
Reyes hooks that one foul and into the seats.
Establishing a Marlins record for consecutive steals at the start of a season. He'd been tied with Chuck Carr. Speaking of catchers, the Mets, Rich, are going to have to make a decision tomorrow. Who's going to catch the knuckleballer, R.A. Dickey, because Josh Tolle had been there most of the time, and he's on the disabled list now.
Well, the catcher that the Mets have brought up, Rob Johnson, did catch Dickey a couple of times when they were both in Seattle, but it's been a while. Reyes, a slow tapper. Wright has to hurry, and he makes an outstanding play at third base. David Wright charging in bare hands, throws out his buddy, Jose Reyes. Marlins come up empty in the 5th.
sixth crazy off day for Brett Hayes and his wife yesterday. A harrowing experience in a car on the Florida Turnpike, stuck in a driving rainstorm and traffic.
We were just traveling on the Turnpike and, stuck in traffic. We heard there was an accident and saw a guy walking down the center divider. It's pouring rain, he can't really see anything, and as he got closer, he kind of realized he's got a gun in his hand, and walked by a car, made eye contact, and looked away. You don't want to draw attention to a guy carrying a gun, obviously.
Brett told me he was close enough where if he opened, look out, if he opened the window, he actually could have touched the gunman. It was that close.
Wow.
We'll have the full story coming up. We'll have the full conversation afterward. Fortunately, no one got seriously hurt. 2 officers were shot. The gunman was killed, but they are said to be okay. So that's the good news. They had bulletproof vests on. More on that after the game, though. Crazy, crazy moment for Brett Hayes and his wife. All he told his wife was, "Don't look at him." And the gunman kept walking by.
Wow. And Hazer, never know, might be in there tomorrow with Ricky Nolasco facing R.A. Dickey. Andres Torres is leading off for the Mets. As the Mets try to climb back in this one, Torres punches it foul. Torres opened the season with a calf injury on the disabled list, and his return has helped jumpstart the Mets offense.
Well, he's a scrappy player. He's one of those guys that does all the little things. He bunts, he moves runners, and an outfielder is a great defender, so that can always help a ball club when you have a guy that's so good on both sides of the ball.
He was a very nice piece for the World Championship San Francisco Giants back in 2010. Gabby is over, and he made a catch there. Torres with the Giants last year, and now his first season with the Mets. Daniel Murphy coming up. 2 hot teams in the East. The Marlins had lost 8 of 9 and went out on a 9-game 3-city road trip, and there were a lot of question marks. And they come home having gone 8-1, a game over 500. They run into a Mets team that has won 5 straight and is 5 over. Burley and Santana matched up in a 3-1 Marlin lead.
And a Mets team that swept the Marlins at Citi Field in New York. Mets, by the way, playing their 8,000th regular season game, of which Preston played a few.
Yeah, I think I got about 2 weeks worth with them as a Met.
But you've witnessed a lot more with your father's involvement.
Well, absolutely. I was pretty much a fixture at Shea Stadium for a while there. I would come there, watch the games. I was real big with the Haagen-Dazs girls. Make sure
Where
I go
would you
there,
go
get my ice
during the
cream.
game? Where would you sit during the game?
Right behind home plate.
Yeah.
Right behind home plate, under the screen, the net, right there.
You ever get to sit in Kiner's corner?
You know what? I got to visit the set a few times. Yes, I did. That was a memorable experience for me as a young kid going up there, actually seeing, the set there and seeing the desk, and then actually watching it after the game, and then you're saying, wow, I was just up there. So that was a neat experience for me when I was younger.
David Wright in his 9th year as a Met. And Burley, a breaking ball for a strike. Wright had injury issues last year, a stress fracture in his lower back. But this year he's healthy, and he's hitting, and he's on base.
It's a special thing to see someone who feels as confident at the plate as he does. You look at him, and he feels like he's in control. If he swings at one bad pitch, he doesn't swing at another one. And he's just in that good place that hitters love to be in, where they feel like if you make a mistake, I'm going to hit it.
And Tommy, it seems like he's over that psychological hurdle when Citi Field first opened. Now he's spraying balls to all fields, a line drive type hitter. I know the fences have been moved in a little bit.
It's almost one of those things. He may not even say this, but because it was so big, it might have made him a better hitter.
I think a lot of guys have to get back to the mentality of hitting line drives when they play in the big ballpark. And I think for a while, mentally, it did bother him. But I think after a while, he got more confident and realized if I hit a line drive in the gap, it's going to be a hit. It may not be a home run, but it'll be a double or a triple, but it's going to be a hit. And I think he kind of fine-tuned his swing to produce that.
See Wright peeking, and he was looking to see what pitch was coming. He's running a floater to left. Kern's got a late start, and he won't get it. He picks it on a hop right to third. And Lucas Duda dumps a single in front of Austin Kearns. You saw Wright take a glance to the plate to try to pick the sign from John Buck, and he was running on the pitch.
What he's trying to pick is a changeup.
Well, that's a great job by a veteran player. They know that sometimes when you got a big catcher, you know, big, strong guys, sometimes they can get a little lazy because it's hard for them to get their legs closed. And you don't just have to be able to see it from second base. If they're lazy and their legs start getting a little open, you can see it from first base. And David Wright did a good job right there picking that up.
Good job by Austin Kearns, too, to keep that ball in front of him. There's Wright. Check him out. Look at that.
Oh, yeah, that's an old crafty veteran move right there.
Yeah, it's a sneaky move.
Don't have to move my head to move my eyes, boys.
Hairston now. The Mets' lone run came on an Ike Davis homer. Hairston with a chance here to cut into this lead. 3-1, Miami on top. There's Wright. Duda across the diamond. And Hairston takes away. Burley struck him out in the 5th. He bounced into a double play back in the 2nd. Ozzie Guillen watching. And Guillen told us tonight that if he needs to close the game, it will be Heath Bell tonight.
And so I think he really liked what he saw in Houston, and that was a good sign.
Yeah, I think anytime you're a big piece at the back of your bullpen, once he starts showing signs of life, it helps the rest of the bullpen relax because then their roles become simplified.
Hairston goes after a 2-0 pitch and pops it up. And that bails Burley out. Infante squeezes. And the lead is still 3-1. Miami. In Miami tonight with the roof closed and the AC on, the Miami Marlins on top of the New York Mets 3-1. Just an enormous cast of characters here tonight. Rich Waltz, Tommy Hutton, and Preston Wilson in the booth. Craig Minervini and Jeff Conine will be by with Marlins Live after the game. LL Cool J in concert after the game. Preston, you didn't know that. You look at me with surprise like you didn't know LL Cool J was going to be.
No, I'm actually excited, man. You know, LL Cool J was one of the first rap pioneers to really make it big globally. And, you know, he's got a great acting career now, but he still does music. And, you know, I'm going to try to hang around to see some of this thing.
Omar Infante, Hanley Ramirez, and Austin Kearns. Both lefties still going strong. Santana was at 74 pitches. misses. Infante, 2 for 2, RBI single, a stolen base, a run scored. And he fits nicely in the 2 spot in the order.
That was even talked about in spring training. And remember, Ozzie addressed that. Should things occur with Bonifacio, a little struggle, that Infante's the guy to move into that number 2 spot.
Infante cracks that one to left center. Torres back, and just shy of the track, he makes the catch. So an out here in the 6th. Hanley Ramirez and Austin Kearns also due up. Ricky Nolasco, R.A. Dickey matchup tomorrow at 1 o'clock. That's an intriguing one because the Marlins haven't hit R.A. Dickey all that well. And there have been some Mets that have seen a lot of Ricky Nolasco.
Well, and Ricky also trying to become the all-time wins leader in Marlins history.
Every time I watch Ricky pitch, I'm just impressed by his tenacity. You know, he definitely goes after hitters. He's that bulldog mentality. He doesn't give an inch no matter who the hitter is. It's fun watching a guy like that pitch.
And I think for a knuckleballer, R.A. Dickey may be the most aggressive knuckleballer to come around in a long time.
If the Marlins get an opportunity with some base runners, they'll be running too. They'll try to run on it.
Yeah, I mean, the Mets have a few young catchers, and it's hard enough catching a major league pitcher, but you throw a knuckleballer out there, then that catcher's going to be a little bit more tight and try to make sure he's trying to squeeze a little bit more, so it's definitely going to help the base runners.
Even though Dickey has a great move to first base.
And he does throw his knuckleball a lot harder than most knuckleballers throw it. You know, it's not that 60-something miles an hour flutter ball that comes up there. He's got a little velocity on him.
Hanley swings and misses. It's been a tough night for Hanley. He's 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts and a double play against Santana. After the game, the premiere of Inside the Marlins, Heath Bell, an exclusive look at Bell's journey to the major leagues and his career in baseball. From his big break with San Diego to his all-star appearances, it's all on Inside the Marlins. Heath Bell tonight on Fox Sports Florida.
Non-drafted, signed by the Mets.
He was part of that Mets team that clinched against the Marlins in 06.
Well, I just think it has been a tough night for Hanley. 3 for 26 now in his career against Johan Santana.
Kearns hit one into the Clevelander back in the 1st, as if they need an excuse for a party out there, and then struck out in the 4th. Santana, boy, a good strong inning with a pair of punch outs for Santana. On to the 7th in a 3-1 game. Ball game. On to the 7th. Austin Kearns, a 2-run homer. The table is set at Jose Reyes with a leadoff triple in that first. And Ike Davis provided the only run for the New York Mets. And on cue, Ike Davis stands in. Takes outside Ronnie Cedeno. Mike Nikias for the Mets in the 7th in Miami. Game 1 of a 3-game series. Out in front, and Infante has it.
Not sure Burley was going to go with that slider during that at bat for Ike Davis.
Well, I think he was more upset at the location and the pitch selection. You know, the slider there wasn't a bad pitch. He just missed his location a lot more than he wanted to. And major league hitters, no matter whether they're scuffling or not, when you get that hanging breaking ball, a lot of those guys don't miss it.
Now Cedeno has struck out and walked. Cedeno, the 29-year-old Venezuelan, in his 8th year in the big leagues. Last year, played a lot for Pittsburgh. And the Pirates, of course, come in here on Monday for a 2-game series. A Monday and a Tuesday. Opening day shortstop for the Pirates last year and in 2010.
That's a great changeup right there by Burley. That ball just disappeared. Ronnie thought it looked like a strike when it came out of his hand, and as he's swinging at it, he just keeps extending, and never gets to it.
Down the right field line, it's foul. All right, if we're going to compare the lefties, would you say that Santana's change is better, but Burley's cutter is a better weapon right now than Santana's fastball?
Oh, yes, because it allows him to command the inside part of the plate to righties a little bit more. Santana's fastball is a little more straight. Burley doesn't have the velocity, but that ball running in right at the last foot or so to the plate really gives right-handers problems from Burley.
And what makes it scary is when you realize Santana used to throw mid-90s.
Yeah, I faced him when he was doing that, and that's not a good day at the ballpark to have a guy that throws that hard, and then to have a 20-miles-an-hour differential in his changeup and his fastball.
Nice job by Cedeno to stay back. Line it into center field, his first base hit.
Not sure if Burley, you can see his reaction. I'm not sure if he's upset with the pitch or the fact that he didn't catch that ball.
Maybe both. He's such a competitor out there. He's probably mad at both of them. That's for sure.
Well, of course, Burley credits his fielding ability to his youth when he played street hockey, and they had to take turns playing goaltender. And Burley relished the assignment of becoming a goalie, and he said it's a lot like being a pitcher.
Well, this shows he's got great reactions on there off the mound, and he's not afraid of any ball that's hit his way. He's looking to make a play.
That one's hit well to left. Kearns is after it, won't get it. It's a big gap, and the ball's going all the way to the wall. Cedeno around third. Mike Nikias has drawn the Mets within a run. And the bottom of the order for Terry Collins, producing here in the 7th.
When you're a manager, you're always pleased when you get a little production from the bottom part. And Nikias getting the opportunity to play with Tolley on the DL. Hit that ball sharply.
That ball is perfectly placed in the gap. Austin thought he may have had a chance at it, but then he had to kind of do a little banana right route towards the wall to go pick it up.
And Terry Collins, thinking he's got an opportunity here with one out, is going to lift Santana from the game. Justin Turner, the guy that did some damage against the Fish in that series in New York, a right-handed bat who produced so many big hits for the Mets last year, is going to pinch hit.
With a guy like Burley, and you mentioned Jim Cott earlier, and it was very similar with him. They work so fast that you get to this point. If something happens, it usually happens quickly. So you have to get guys going up in the bullpen. That's why Ozzie had John Buck go out there, stall a little time. You saw Randy St. Clair on the phone down to the bullpen, but he wants to give everybody a little extra time.
Oh, that's a great point, because those guys down in the bullpen do need a certain amount of throws to get loose before they even get on the mound. Then they get on the mound and get their work in, working on their pitches. So when you got a guy working this quickly, that kind of puts the manager in a bind.
And as well, you can always send the pitching coach out on a slow walk to buy more time for the guys in the bullpen.
So it's a double stall right here. How about the note? I know you read it today, Rich, about, you may have seen it, Preston. You probably saw this move where they're trying to eliminate that pitcher fake throw to third, step off, fake to first. Trying to eliminate that, the rules committee, which isn't a bad thing.
Well, until you're a pitcher. If you're a base runner at first, it's a great thing. Because now, with a right-hander, first movement, you can get a great move.
Exactly.
You can get a great jump to second.
Yeah, I just hope they really think it through and realize the repercussions that it could have. Just like you said, as soon as the right-hander picks up his foot, you can go.
Now Turner with Nikias out at second. Goes after the first pitch. Kearns. Boy, all that stalling and all that waiting at the plate for Justin Turner. And Burley got him out on his front foot.
In watching Nikias run, and keep in mind he's a catcher, but watching him run, not a lot of speed at second, so you keep that in mind as an outfielder.
If there's one thing we've learned, though, from watching games, and we haven't seen a lot of games in this ballpark, this plays a lot like a Coors Field, a big park. Because of the dimensions, the outfielders are a long ways from home plate. So not only do you get balls that fall in, but ground ball singles take a while to get to the outfielder.
More guys going first to third.
Yeah, the dimensions themselves force the outfielders to play a little bit further because you do have to protect the gaps a little bit.
Torres takes down low. And Burley has fallen behind 2-0. Daniel Murphy is on deck. Torres, Puerto Rican, but played a couple seasons at Miami-Dade Community College.
In 1997 was actually drafted in the 23rd round by the Marlins.
And a guy that really struggled with ADD and wasn't diagnosed until midway through his professional career. Didn't start taking medication for it until 2007. And once he started, Tommy and Preston, then all of a sudden his career path to the big leagues became a lot clearer.
You know, I've played with a few guys who've had that, and the hardest thing for them is to be able to organize their thoughts and to kind of repeat things because they kind of lose the thought process sometimes.
2-2. Ooh, Burley just missed.
That's a great pitch, though, to set up a 3-2 pitch. He went hard in.
See if he goes soft away now.
I'm saying he's going with a changeup right here with first base open. I think that's a great pitch.
Nikias at second. Mets down a run. Soft away, and he missed away. Now, do you leave him in to face Murphy and Ozzie Guillen? As soon as that pitch landed in the glove of John Buck, was on the top step and on his way out.
I think he wants Randy Choate.
Murphy 1 for 3 against Burley. And both lefties are now out of the ball game. Santana lifted for a pinch hitter. Burley lifted. We're back in Miami after this.
Mark Burley is done. Randy Choate is in the ball game. And Choate will get Daniel Murphy, who was singled in 3 trips. Choate, the lefty specialist, longtime big leaguer. Mike Nikias with an RBI double has brought the Mets within a run. Andres Torres, the runner at first, Nikias at second. And Choate's pitch is dribbled up the first base line. Buck kicks it fair, and it's 0-1. Interesting dynamics here. This is kind of how the Mets won their ball games against the Marlins. The Marlins blew 2 leads late in New York.
Yeah, one, the middle game wasn't pretty. That was the 4 consecutive walks by 4 different pitchers.
That was a major league record.
Yeah, and the second one was the 4 walks. Heath Bell really struggled, and then the walk-off base hit by Neuenhuis.
Mike Dunn just called up. Ryan Webb has been up for some time, and you would have to think that Webb is getting ready for David Wright if he comes up. There's that sidearm breaking ball, and it's 1-2.
Daniel Murphy does a real good job in hanging in there against lefties.
Well, he's a good hitter.
Yeah.
You know, he understands himself as a hitter. He doesn't try to do too much, and he always has a plan. When you look at him hitting, you know that there's a plan. There's something that he's trying to accomplish or something that he's looking for when he's at the plate.
Hit .320 last year with close to 400 at bats. That's a year after he missed 2010 with a knee injury.
Well, there was never a question of the type of hitter that he is. The problem was trying to find a place for him, a position on the field. They tried left field, first base. I think second base may be his home now.
Got him. Breaking ball. Murphy goes down. And the Marlins hang on to the lead. The Mets get closer. Mike Nikias with an RBI double. But Randy Choate finishes Daniel Murphy. It's 3-2. Strikeout with 2 on and 2 out in the 7th.
Watch John Buck. Doesn't give it away. Now he sets outside. A little fist pump on a great pitch by Randy Choate to get a tough hitter in Daniel Murphy. So good execution. Choate comes in, does his job, makes some pitches to get a left-hander who hits lefties pretty well.
But you almost get a sense the way the Mets have been going, and even the way the Marlins have been going. Even though the Marlins have won 8 of 9, the Marlins may need another run or two to win this ball game.
Yeah, the last time they scored was in the first inning, all 3 runs. Sometimes, regardless of the kind of stuff Ramon Ramirez has, and he has good stuff. He's got a good fastball, slider, and changeup, good arm action to his changeup. But sometimes it doesn't matter because you've gotten Santana out of there, and he had a lot of guys off balance.
Once you get that ace out of the ball game, the hitters actually feel like a little bit's been lifted off them. The next guy can actually have more stuff, but that level of respect isn't there that they have for the ace. So they feel like they're going to have better at-bats.
Ramirez with the breaking ball for Giancarlo Stanton, who was flied out and singled. Gabby Sanchez, Emilio Bonifacio in the bottom of the 7th. Brian Gorman calling balls and strikes. Said that one was outside. Manny Acosta, the right-hander. Tim Burdack, the lefty in the pen. 31,007 here tonight.
The Nationals keep going at it. A 7-2 lead in Cincinnati. Bottom of the 5th inning.
Fastball lifted foul. 1-2.
Nationals kind of getting help from everybody too. With Jason Worth going down with that wrist injury, all of a sudden Roger Bernardina's getting to play. Hit a home run last night, and he's hit one tonight already.
Davey Johnson has did a great job of pulling that team together. And no matter what type of hiccups they've had, injuries or whatnot, they haven't let that bother them. They've gone out there and they've played well pretty much night in and night out.
2-2. Stanton prolific on the road trip. 5 homers in the 9 games. Had a couple doubles. 10 hits in total. 2-2 coming. Held by Nikias on a foul tip and a strikeout for Ramirez. Santana struck out 7. Johan Santana 82 pitches while Mark Burley went 102. Phillies at home against San Diego, a 5-3 lead in the bottom of the 7th. And the Braves in St. Louis, 2-0. Atlanta, top of the 2nd. (1-0) to Gabby Sanchez, and it's high. Mets bullpen has kind of been an up and down with an ERA of 4.5. Frank Francisco, their closer, got off to a good start. He is 8 of 9 in save opportunities. And you can see their overall ERA not so good.
Funny how you see their record. We've talked about it. They've won 5 straight. Bullpen's ERA is high. And you see the Marlins, the way they've played, gotten back in this thing, yet they've really struggled with runners in scoring position.
It's a great at bat by Gabby right there. He looked a lot more comfortable off the righty than he did against Johan earlier in the game.
You hear this said, can a good at bat like that, even though he walked, can that help turn things around for him?
Oh, absolutely. Because if you got that walk and you were still intended on swinging, but your rhythm was so good, your timing was so good that you were able to hold your position once you recognize the ball, that's a confidence builder. You know, it's definitely as opposed to when a guy gets a walk where he has no intention of swinging whatsoever. Well, you haven't accomplished anything.
Now Bonifacio, who is lined to left, and legged out an infield single, stole his 16th base back in the 5th inning. Runs up to bunt and takes outside. Bonifacio, a guy who's always among the league leaders, not only in bunt hits but also infield hits. And David Wright, who made an outstanding play earlier in the ball game on a Jose Reyes ball. Both eyeing each other right now. Ball and a strike. Remember, tomorrow it's a 1 o'clock game. And then Sunday, as usual, a 1 o'clock game. Big Fox tomorrow. Everything starts at 12:30.
Got a big Mother's Day show on Sunday's game.
You know, I'm not going to be here with you guys. I'd like to say a happy Mother's Day. My mom is feeling a little under weather, but happy Mother's Day, Mom. I love you, and get well soon.
Nicely done. You got it all in before the pitch.
That was good.
I've been watching you guys.
And you know where to go for the love, too. To Mom.
Absolutely.
1-2 coming. The fastball misses away. 2-2. John Buck on deck. And then you've got the pitcher spot, which right now is Randy Choate, but obviously Ozzie has a lot of different bats he can choose from. He can go left side with Greg Dobbs and Logan Morrison. Bonifacio strikes out. Ramirez has a pair of strikeouts and a walk.
I think that's the alarming number with Bonifacio. The number of strikeouts, and you were mentioning it earlier, Rich, especially from the right side. But that's the 32nd time that Bonifacio struck out this year.
That's something he's definitely going to have to fix. You can't have a guy who's supposed to be an on-base type guy, especially with his play. He's got to put the bat on the ball more often.
That's more than Mike Stent.
Yeah, he's got to put the bat on the ball more often. You know, I don't know if it's a confidence thing where now when he gets to 2 strikes, it's kind of a little bit of a panic mode. But he's got to get back in that more relaxed position where he's comfortable taking pitches, getting deep in the count, and just putting the bat on the ball, not trying to do too much.
That's where he was last year when his on-base percentage was .360. And he hit .296. Buck goes after that pitch, and that's why Ozzie Guillen has moved him out of the number 2 spot into the 7 spot in the order. Out of play.
Something we saw John Buck do a lot better, especially in Houston. Hit that 1 home run to right field. He stayed back a little better, had better swings.
I watched John Buck, and he's a big, strong guy. Sometimes his swing can get a little long, but I think that starts with his bottom half. When his hips open up a little early, his bat swing gets a little long. The home run that he hit in the Crawford boxes in Houston, his front hip stayed closed a really long time, and he got to that ball inside. So I think that for me, that's a key for when I watch John Buck. Watch his front hip.
Is it just me, or is there a guy in a purple suit like 10 rows up? There is.
One of the Teletubbies made it to the game tonight.
Either that or he lost a bet.
There's somebody who's glad we don't have the outdoor stadium anymore.
You're right. That would be a tough thing to pull off with the high humidity.
1-2 coming. Gabby still at first. And Buck stays alive. Ramirez trying to keep it at 1 run. The Mets have climbed back. It was a 3-0 Marlin lead. They got all their runs in the first from Johan Santana. Triple by Jose Reyes. Omar Infante knocked him home. And then Austin Kearns hit one into the Clevelander, a 2-run homer. Mark Burley was sailing. But the Mets picked up a run in the 5th, added one in the top of this inning.
Tell you what a lift it'd be for Buck right now if he hit a double in the gap. Give him some confidence, get us another run. You know, the Marlins could use it right here.
Decidedly different pace from Ramirez to Santana or even Burley.
I think it is in every reliever's contract that they can come in and just slow the pace down and take all. Do we know any relievers that come in and work really fast?
Well, after Burley, though, everybody's going to look slow. So I feel bad for the guys on the mound right now. You're going to have guys yelling at you left and right. Let's go, speed up.
Two. That one's popped up. Davis has a good look at it. And Ike Davis makes the catch. And Ramon Ramirez gets through the inning. Met fans are hoping for a comeback. Marlins on top 3-2.
Well, I tell you what, Rich, the Marlins didn't waste any time in the first inning. A triple off the bat of Jose Reyes, his 3rd triple of the year. That got things going. How about Omar Infante, a little base hit driving in Reyes, 1-0. And then Austin Kearns, his 3rd home run of the year into the Clevelander, just like that. 3 runs off Santana. In the 5th inning, creeping back into the game, a hanging slider. Ike Davis takes into the bullpen, and it's 3-1. One of the few mistakes that Mark Burley made. And then the 7th inning, 2-base hit. Nikias found the gap in left center and drove home Cedeno. So it's a 1-run game. Marlins haven't scored since that first inning.
So 3-2. And Azikian turns the 8th over to Edward Mujica. Mujica has done a little bit of everything this year in the Marlins bullpen. He's pitched in the 8th. He's pitched in the 9th.
Got a couple of saves.
He's got David Wright, Lucas Duda, and Scott Hairston.
He is a guy that you do feel comfortable when you bring him in and some left-handers are coming up, because he has that good split, a little change-up that is a good pitch to lefties.
Yeah, he definitely has enough pitches in his repertoire to nullify a lefty up there.
That's a fair ball right around first, headed to second, and he'll stop there. David Wright, 3 consecutive hits, a double to open the 8th, and the Mets are in business.
That's a great at bat, a great swing by Wright. The pitch wasn't bad. It was away. Might have been up a little bit, but he's had some good at bats his last 3 times up. Just fair.
When you're feeling good up there, you feel like you can handle anything, and he feels like he's going to put a good pitch on any swing that he swings on any swing that he swings at. He's going to take it's going to be a good pitch for him to do it.
So Wright with his 8th double, and now you've got Duda, left-handed bat, who is 2 for 3. Mojica's out in front 0-1. Ball and a strike.
Lucas Duda trying to carry over what he had from the second half last year. He was a better than 300 hitter after the All-Star break last season. And one of those that you talked about, Rich, getting a chance to play.
Not by design, but by necessity. The Mets shedding major payroll, almost $50 million from last year. They were at $142 million last year, $94 million this year. So the kids are playing, and they're playing well, and they're homegrown.
Well, that's something the Mets had gotten away from. At one point, they traded away all of their young talent. And now they're starting to get back to having guys that they've actually signed, from the draft and groomed in their minor league system to get them to be seen on their major league field in New York. That's something they got away from, and it's nice to see a team grow their talent and get the rewards of having them play in the big leagues for the team they drafted.
The 1-2. Ground ball, right side. Infante has it. Nice at bat by Duda as he moves right 90 feet to third. And now Scott Hairston will try to drive him in, or a pinch hitter. And it looks like Kirk Neuenhuis has emerged on deck.
That was a good job by Duda because he was able to get the job done with 2 strikes. He was able to pull the ball even though he had a couple of strikes on him. And now Terry Collins is going to go to a guy that had some big hits in that series in New York.
It is Neuenhuis. Neuenhuis also with a nice series in Philadelphia. You see the season that he's had this year.
Here's what Terry Collins is doing. He's setting up the left-hander. He knows he's going to get the matchup in his favor. He's going to get Neuenhuis, a left-handed bat, against Mojica. He's forcing Ozzie. He's going to say, Ozzie, I don't think you're going to bring in Mike Dunn here. And so he has the matchup in his favor.
Infield in, Mojica against Neuenhuis. And it was Neuenhuis that ended the series with the walk-off in the rain after Heath Bell had walked 4. Neuenhuis ended it. Good changeup from Mojica.
Yeah, his changeup with that split grip has a lot of movement to it.
Infield in, Wright's at third. Caught the corner, and it's 1-2.
Very good pitch.
Yeah, Neuenhuis got an opportunity when Torres was on the disabled list to play in center field.
Warren Henry bringing you the Fox tracks.
Perfect pitch, number 3.
Where's pitch number 4 going?
He might be trying to go down with a breaking ball here. No, he went in
Fastball
fastball.
ripped.
I thought he had him set up for a breaking ball.
And this game is tied. Neuenhuis on his way to second. And in there with a double. Another big hit for Neuenhuis.
The young kid comes through in the clutch again.
He had a game winner in Philadelphia as well.
He tried to come in with that fastball. I see the target. Not a bad pitch. Neuenhuis, great adjustment and a quick bat. So another blown save by the Marlins bullpen.
We showed you all the comeback wins that the Mets have already this year. That has fueled their run to 18 and 13. Ike Davis is up, and Ozzie Guillen is going to walk him. And I think Tommy brings up a great point. Though the Marlins brought Mike Dunn up, they used Randy Choate in a tight spot in the 7th, but not having another reliable lefty has cost him here.
You know, when Mike Dunn was here, and there are the numbers for Davis against Mujica, Dunn's ERA was over 6. He worked on a few things in the minor leagues, but they didn't really translate into success because his ERA was over 11 in AAA. So that's why right now Ozzie doesn't have the confidence, I don't think, in this kind of game to bring Dunn in.
But we'll see now which script this follows. Is it the script from New York where the Marlins blow a late lead and lose the game? Or is it the one from the road trip where the Marlins blew 3 leads only to hang on in a tie game and come back and win those games?
But I think the Marlins are more confident now. We know the Mets are confident because they have been coming from behind all year, but I think the Marlins are a much more confident team, and they realize now that just because the game gets tied or if they get behind, it's not over with. They still have good at-bats to get out there, and they still can make plays on defense.
Ronnie Cedeno with a count at 2-0. Edward Mujica doesn't look too confident out there right now. He's given up a couple doubles. An intentional walk to Davis. Cedeno 1 for 2. All of his at-bats against Mark Burley, and Burley was in line to pick up win number 3. That's gone. He went 6 2/3, 2 runs on 8 hits.
Rich, we talked and have talked a lot about Mujica, who has such good control. On the pitch that Neuenhuis hit, that was a 1-2 pitch. And a lot of times he falls into that category of throwing too many strikes, too many hittable strikes. It's almost like if you're going to miss there or throw the fastball, you almost have to miss inside.
I'm right there with you, Tommy. That's why I thought he was going to go for a breaking ball, maybe even break a ball in the dirt. I thought he had him set up for it, but you're right. He did get too much of the strike zone right there with that pitch.
Cedeno fouls the pitch off, and the count's 3-2. One out. Runners move, and it's fouled back. Terry Collins putting the game in motion.
Sometimes you take a shot there. Collins putting a little pressure on Cedeno to make contact, because as a hitter, you want to know if those runners are going to be moving. 3-2.
Tommy, right here. Would you say Ozzie's going to have the guys maybe throw to second base because of a slower Ike Davis at first base?
Yeah, I would. I'd be surprised if they go again, because you had that one shot, maybe a little surprise to let him move on the 3-2 1-out pitch.
But the advantage that Davis has is the Marlins aren't holding him. Gabby Sanchez is well behind him at first. Lead runner Neuenhuis has pretty good speed. Former running back in high school. Running again. And it's fouled again.
That looks like Buck was looking at third there when that ball was fouled off.
Yeah, I think he sees the kind of lead Davis has. But a lot of times you're right. You'll see a catcher go for that backhand runner because he doesn't run well.
Full count, 1 out, tied game. Top 8 on the move again, and it's up and in. And Mujica has loaded the bases. And Terry Collins is going to dig deeper to his bench.
He has lefty Mike Baxter stepping in to hit for Nickius.
Ozzie Guillen and Randy St. Clair, and it is apparent that Mujica just doesn't have it right now. And Guillen on his way to the mound. And we'll see if he points to the bullpen or if he's out there to just buy time and see where Mujica is. No, Guillen's going to the pen. Well, Ryan Webb was up and throwing earlier. He was not throwing about 30 seconds ago. He took a couple of tosses, and here he comes. 3-3. The Mets have tied it, and they've got him loaded in the 8th. And have tied this game. Brian Webb replaces Edward Mujica. A couple of doubles, a couple of walks for Mujica.
Which gives the story even more meaning. With Dunn in the bullpen, left-hander, certainly Ozzie doesn't have the confidence in bringing him in a bases-loaded situation. Because this would be a situation because Collins announced the left-handed bat, and Ozzie went to the bullpen and brought in Webb.
And as we told you before, a staggering 11 of the Mets' 18 wins are come from behind wins. They have come from behind to tie it, and now they're trying to take the lead. Baxter has been outstanding as a pinch hitter this year. 5 for 14. He takes a strike.
Infield's a double play depth. But I would imagine a ball at either the corners, and Hanley and Gabby would come to the plate.
Webb's 0-1. Liner into left center field. That's going to chase home at least 2. Over for it is Kearns. The Mets have a 5-3 lead. Mike Baxter. Another big pinch hit. Baxter's 6th already this season. And the Marlins bullpen has imploded here tonight.
Well, doubles from the 2 pinch hitters, Neuenhuis and Baxter. That's just a good swing. And 2 runs scored easily. You going to see another pinch hitter. And then you have to also, just in the back of your mind, concern yourself for a squeeze. It's going to be Rob Johnson, because Johnson's going to come in to do the catching because Baxter pinch hit for Nikias.
I told you Johnson is a candidate tomorrow to catch R.A. Dickey. Infield in. Webb against Johnson. And a breaking ball for a strike. Cedeno is the runner at third base. And of course Baxter is at second. Johnson, a good catch and throw guy, always has struggled to hit in the big leagues. He was hitting .291 in Buffalo.
Yeah, hit just .190 last year, 67 games for the Padres. You mentioned up and down with Seattle a few years.
Time called. I don't know if that got loose from the bull. It probably came from the seats, but a ball loose on the field. No one throwing in the Marlins pen. Well, the roster move that the Marlins made was to bring Mike Dunn up because they wanted a lefty, especially with the Mets in here this weekend. But Ozzie Guillen has been reluctant to get him in the 8th. Squeezes on. Johnson puts it down, foul.
I wasn't sure when it was going to happen, but you had to have that in the back of your mind.
Yeah, especially when you got a batter at the plate who doesn't swing the bat that well. You kind of bail him out if he gets a chance to get it down.
Good job.
You get a run for it.
Yeah, good job by the runner. Actually, it wasn't a very good pitch to bunt. Johnson did a good job just fouling it off.
Going back to Dunn, I think sometimes a manager has a tough job as far as protecting his players. And I think with the struggles that Dunn had earlier, Ozzie didn't want to bring him into a pressure-filled situation. Kind of wants to get him in some game situation where there isn't that much pressure on it. But that may have been of what we saw tonight.
Swing and a miss. Johnson goes down. That's the problem in the big leagues, though. You can't always control whether it's a soft landing or a difficult one.
Oh, that's why it's the big leagues. There's no higher level than this. So there's always going to be that competition. That honestly, that's the job of a manager is so tough because you do have to try to find ways to put guys in situations so they can be successful.
Now Torres, the switch hitter, who was 0 for 3 with a walk. 5-3. The Mets have 3 runs here in the 8th. Torres homered in the 10-6 win to complete the sweep in Philadelphia. In that ball game, the Mets rallied twice against Cliff Lee to come back and tie the game.
Well, you mentioned it, 11 come from behind wins.
That's a sign of a team that's believing in themselves. They got a little bit of cockiness about them now. They know they belong in the league. They feel like they can compete any night, and they never give up.
That one fouling out of play. So now Terry Collins is going to hope that the back end of his bullpen holds up with a 2-run lead. And Torres has a chance to add to it with a 2-1 count and 2 outs. Breaking ball. 2-2.
Good slider, good location too, down and in. Bobby Parnell, hard thrower, come in for the 8th inning.
A pair of Mets still out there. Cedeno and Baxter. Webb thought he had him struck out. Count 3-2. And he was in. Been a good night for Brian Gorman. And again here at Marlins Park, you have a true center look. And that the center field camera lines up right with home plate and the mound. Most ballparks, you've got a camera that is off to the third base side, so calling inside and outside from that view is not always the clearest. 3-2 coming. Lost him on a breaking ball, and now you have to deal with a much better hitter.
Yeah,
Daniel Murphy.
You really wanted to see Ryan Webb go after Torres. Not that he's an easy out, but now you do have to deal with a better hitter.
Well, this has been a messy inning for the Marlins bullpen. 3 doubles.
We've had a few of those recently.
3 walks and 3 runs. Toyota Trend, the Mets have won 9 of their last 11 meetings with the Miami Marlins, but have outscored the Fish 38-32 in those games. So it's Murphy, and he's 1 for 4. Webb and Mujica, both coming from the Padres organization to start last season in the Cameron Maben trade.
Huge right here to shut it down. A 2-run deficit is a lot more manageable than 3 or 4.
Ground ball, Infante to first, inning over, but the Mets have come back and taken the lead, 5-3. Against Johan Santana, Mark Burley was on the mound. Burley gave up a couple, and the bullpen collapses in the 8th. 5-3, Mets on top. Kurt Neuenhuis with another big hit against the Fish, our Kawasaki performance of the game.
You know, the Mets doing it in that inning, doing a couple of things that the Marlins haven't gotten a whole lot of. Key base hits, and in their case, a couple of pinch hits, Neuenhuis and Baxter. So Rob Johnson stays in the game behind the plate. And that's how you come from behind. That's how you put together innings like that. You don't just wait for that home run.
Well, Bobby Parnell, as Terry Collins tries to close this game, Parnell gets the 8th. And the Marlins are going to pinch hit with Greg Dobbs to open up the 8th inning. Dobbs, Jose Reyes, and Omar Infante.
Good numbers for Parnell. He'll throw 95 to 98. Good breaking ball. The key for him this year, 16 strikeouts, just 3 walks.
Yeah, he's definitely one of those guys that can light up the radar gun, but he also has control to go with it, and that's a rare combination to be able to throw that hard but still have control.
Dobbs lifts one to left. Neuenhuis to his left, and he makes the catch. Dobbs hits it well. An out. And now Reyes. Boy, the night got off to a flying start. Reyes, a drive just over the glove of Andres Torres. It was a triple to lead off the first. Infante scored him with a single. And then Austin Kearns pumped one over the wall and left. And it was a 3-0 lead. Reyes takes a strike. And as you pointed out, Tommy, with a guy like Santana, you get some runs against him. But if you get the opportunity to score again and you don't, he'll shut you down. And that's exactly what Santana did. He stiffened up and shut the Marlins out for the rest of his outing.
You know, his previous 6 starts, he only allowed 1 run in the first inning. But he rebounded nicely.
0-2. Reyes fouls it back to the screen.
Good. With Santana, after the 3rd inning, he only allowed 2 base runners until the 7th. I mean, he just really clamped down, started making pitches, and really settled in.
6 innings, 6 hits, and just those 3 first-inning runs for Santana. Oh, 2 coming. Parnell at 99 on that fastball. Well, the Mets closed with Rauch in Philadelphia for a game. Reyes, a soft ground ball that kicks off of Davis, and no chance to get Reyes. Mike Davis had that one crawl up his arm, and the Marlins have some life here in the 8th.
Normally a pretty sure-handed first baseman. Ball took a funny little hop, came up on him. And sometimes you need a little break to get a rally started.
Sometimes you need a little luck to go your way. You need that break. You need a little luck to go your way. And, you know, hopefully that can be the start of something for this inning.
Ozzie mentioned that. He mentioned on the road trip the ball bounced in their favor on a lot of occasions.
So an error on Davis. Infante, who is 2 for 3. Parnell misses up with a fastball. A pair of arms ready in the Mets pen.
Okay, I like this matchup. I think Infante can hit anybody's fastball, and you got a guy who really has confidence in his fastball. I like this matchup.
Liner in the right center. That's a base hit. To the gap it goes. Reyes may score. Around third, Espada will send him. And he will score. Infante delivers again.
Preston Wilson all over it, likes the matchup. Infante so quick with his hands, just jumps on this fastball and finds the right spot.
Good. You can tell he's done a lot of work on trying to shorten up his swing and simplify his approach as much as possible. And there aren't many people in the game who are going to throw a fastball by him. And he shows it right there.
A 1-run game. Now you talk about
shortening a swing, simplifying a swing. It's something the Marlins have tried to get Hanley Ramirez to do this year. At times he's been able to do it, at times he hasn't.
And he's going to need to against Parnell's fastball.
That big leg kick, it's really hard to maintain it. You've seen guys go away from it. Alex Rodriguez went away from it because he felt like he wanted to be more consistent in his setup.
And he hits a high pop into right. Duda is there, and he makes the catch.
And that's a result of being late. And once you get down a little late, the bat catches the ball deep in the zone, and you get the lazy fly ball to right field.
And you could understand that swing with 2 strikes on you. But if you're going after that first pitch fastball, you don't want to see a fly ball the opposite field.
As a hitter, you definitely want to gear up. And if I'm looking for a first pitch fastball and I'm geared up to hit it, I want to pull it or at least hit it towards center field if it's not outside. If it's outside, it's different. But that ball wasn't outside. He just got beat on it.
Ozzie Guillen brought Logan Morrison on deck once he was announced. Terry Collins popped out of the dugout. He's going to go get the left-hander to face Morrison. Another big hit by Omar Infante. The Fish are a run shy with Lomo coming up. Omar Infante drives him in with an RBI double. Wheels turning in both dugouts. Marlins brought up Logan Morrison. New York counters with Tim Burdack.
Right now you're saying Terry Collins has a little more confidence in his left-hander out of the bullpen. So Burdack, sweeping breaking ball, decent fastball, gives left-handers a little trouble. So it'll be a tough matchup for Logan Morrison.
Morrison, in his career, has hit lefties well. In fact, better than righties. This year, though, he's just 5 for 22.
One of the reasons, I think, is because he's selective, he stays back well, and he sees left-handers. He doesn't jump out too much against lefties.
I've had some lefties tell me that it really forces them to keep their front sides closed a lot longer. So they stay in there and actually see the ball longer and have better swings.
First pitch from Burdack is a strike. Burdack has been hot, if you can say that about a relief pitcher. 2 wins and 3 holds in his last 5 appearances. He picked up 2 of the wins in the series sweep in Philadelphia. Morrison quickly is behind in the count, 0-2, and Burdack is pounding the strike zone.
Now he'll probably try to expand it, the strike zone.
He's a lot like Randy Choate, that in his career lefties have not fared well. Just 204 against him. The 0-2. There's the expansion you were looking for.
Yeah, when you have a reliever comes in, he's got a base open. Even though he knows this is his batter, he's got to get when he has a couple pitches to play with, they try to just throw something out there that change the hitter's view to try to get them thinking something else before they come back to the pitch that they actually want to get them out with.
Infante with 3 hits tonight. And he's driven in 2 of Miami's 4 runs. 1-2. Giancarlo Stanton. Though you would expect John Rauch is waiting for Stanton.
That's why he's still ready in that bullpen for the Mets.
Two. There's the composure that you touched upon with Morrison.
So I always thought the big difference in the game with all the matchups is that if you're Tim Burdack, hey, you could make a perfect pitch. If you miss, you know you don't have to face Giancarlo. You got to go to the bullpen, bring in the righty.
That is the luxury of the left-handed specialist.
Fonte at second. 3-2 coming. Got him. Burdack comes up and in with an 89-mile-an-hour fastball and strikes out Morrison. Miami gets a run back. The Mets lead it 5-4. On top. Are you hitting the road? Take the Marlins with you this season. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Marlins out-of-market game live on your favorite devices in HD quality. Visit Marlins.com to order. Get more details. MLB.tv. Baseball everywhere. Tonight in Miami, it's a 1-run game into the 9th. Greg Dobbs stays in the ball game, and he now occupies left field, and Heath Bell comes in and tries to keep it a 1-run game.
Well, I think one of the big differences we saw in Heath Bell in his outing the other night in Houston, he kept the ball down. He had command of that fastball. He also threw some good breaking balls for strikes. Velocity was always there. That was never a question. He was throwing 94, 95 the other night.
David Wright has had quite a night. He is 3 for 4, has doubled, singled twice, and went around. It's 0-1. Edward Mujica was charged with all 3 runs in that 8th inning. And Wright led the inning off with a double Kirk Neuenhuis had a pinch hit double, an intentional walk, an unintentional walk, and that was it for Mujica. Ryan Webb came in, and he gave up a 2-run double to Mike Baxter. Both those runs, obviously, to Mujica. Heath Bell had a nice start to the road trip in San Francisco. He saved a Ricky Nolasco game. The Marlins beating Matt Cain and the Giants 2-1, but then some meltdowns, a demotion. As Tommy pointed out, an appearance in the 10th inning in the 12-inning win in Houston on Wednesday night. One and two. Frank Francisco, Mets closer.
It'd really be nice to see Heath Bell put together 2 consecutive good outings right here. You know, it'd be a lot for him, for his confidence, you know, after a little bit of a shaky start. And it'll give Ozzie the confidence in him to put him back out there in those safe situations even more so than he is.
I'll tell you what, if he keeps making pitches like that, he will. I mean, after some good fastballs, then he dropped in a beautiful curveball. Watch this pitch. Perfect location, outside corner, and down.
Well, as Ozzie Guillen said, the Marlins are a better team when Heath Bell is their closer. And so trying to rehabilitate Bell back to his all-star form, something Ozzie is hoping to do.
Well, what I think Ozzie means by that is it clarifies everyone else's role. Your setup man is your setup man. He doesn't have to worry about possibly coming in a safe situation. You know, your guys that are more of your long guys, they know that. They know they're not going to be pushed to be in a setup situation. So everybody's roles are more defined.
Two 2-0 now to a man that can hit a ball a long way, and that's Lucas Duda. Bell gets a strike. It's 2-1. If Bell can deliver this game into the bottom of the 9th, it's still a 1-run game. The Marlins have Stanton, Gabby Sanchez, Bonifacio scheduled. We saw Bell's fastball in Houston top out at 95. Infante.
Well, the problem wasn't with his velocity. I think he had a little mechanical flaw that he wasn't being able to locate the ball the way he wanted to. He worked that out, and now he looks like the Heath Bell that we've been seeing making all-star appearances and pitching great in years past for San Diego.
You know, you're right. Every once in a while, you'll see a video replay of one of his saves over the last few years with San Diego, and they're down. Everything's down. Fastballs on the corner, in and out. Breaking balls down.
Now Neuenhuis for his second at bat.
Neuenhuis has become a nuisance for the Marlins, the way he's hit.
Nuisance house.
Yeah, Neuenhuis. Good looking player.
A young player. He's just 24. A 3rd-round pick in 2008.
You mentioned his athletic ability in high school, too.
Great running back, and was recruited by Division I schools in that area. Colorado, Air Force, Colorado State. But he wanted to play baseball, and he ended up at a small school in Southern California, Azusa Pacific.
Well, Kirk, from what I see, I think you made the right decision, buddy. Because I like you as a baseball player.
Ground ball up the middle. Reyes just gets him.
Frank Francisco's coming in for the Mets. 5-4 New York in Miami in the 9th. Tonight brought to you by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. And by Checkers. Feast on. The Clevelander on South Beach. Across the way in downtown Miami, 5-4 Mets. This is Frank Francisco, Mets closer. He's 8 of 9 in save opportunities, but look at the ERA.
Yeah, the ERA is up there. You see the strikeouts to walk, so he's got more than a strikeout an inning. A strikeout guy, good fastball, slider, and a splitter. But the fact that he's given up a couple of long balls means that he's hung a few pitches, maybe the split. And the Marlins have a little sock coming up this inning.
You got the meat of the order coming up.
It's an interesting inning as it sets up. You'd almost rather have it flip-flop with Bonifacio leading off. But you've got the power hitter in Stanton. Then you've got Gabby Sanchez. Then you've got the speed guy in Bonifacio. Stanton goes after a fastball and fouls it back. It's 0-1. Inside corner at 94.
You got to tip your hat on that pitch. If you swing at it, you're not going to handle it anyway.
Yeah, look at that. Just a little bit off the plate. Perfect pitch.
Stanton homered on Monday, first game of the Houston series. 0-2. Fastball, and he had to hurry to catch up. It stays at 0-2.
So far, all fastballs to Giancarlo.
Well, I think they remember Giancarlo that they were facing when they played against him before. His at-bats are a lot better now. His setup's a lot better. So I might run into a little trouble if you keep throwing him fastballs like that.
0-2. Stays alive on the breaking ball. The Mets trying to win their 12th game and coming from behind. And it would be their 19th win of the season. Terry Collins has always been known as a bulldog of a manager, and his ball club seems to have taken on his personality.
We're talking about the job that Brad Mills has done in Houston. Terry Collins every bit as good and better because he has his club really playing well and has his club with a lot of wins. Trying to make it their 6th straight.
Yeah, there's one thing to say, you got a manager that's having a team play hard for you, but then to get it to translate into wins.
Smashed into left center. And it goes all the way to the wall. Stanton on his way to second, and he's there. My goodness.
Oh, wow. That is one of those absolute screamers that's almost a ground ball, and he hit it so hard it got into left center and it got past Neuenhuis. He actually hesitates. Stanton does, rounding first base.
There's something to be said. They're playing no double situation. You got a ground ball hit in the gap, and the guy thinks he's going to cut it off, but he can't get to it.
So the Marlins have all they could ask for now. They've got their leadoff runner in scoring position, and they've got 3 shots to get him home. Gabby Sanchez is 0 for 2 with a walk.
Francisco staying with that fastball, too.
Well, that's what I felt like. You know, they're facing Stanton. They remember how his at-bats when they were playing in New York, but Stanton's approach is a lot better now. He's getting ready earlier, and like I said, he ran into a little trouble throwing that fastball.
That's one of the hard. I mean, if he got that ball in the air, it landed on one of the cruise ships.
Outfield still very deep. Center, Torres back. Stanton tags. Torres has it. Stanton's coming to third.
It's a good job of tagging up right there.
And he's in there easily.
Very alert base running by Stanton right there. He realizes it's a long throw. He runs well enough to make it there. Good heads-up base running.
That is good, and he is continuing to learn the game as far as the little things, and that was great to see him pick that up, realize it was deep enough for him to get to third.
I mean, it's hard to believe he's just a 22-year-old kid, isn't it?
That's amazing.
You know,
yeah.
I mean, you look at him, you see the success he's had and the things that he's done, and then when there is a mistake, you have to remind yourself that he hasn't played that much baseball. He's still a 22-year-old kid.
Now, this is a spot that has been tough for Bonifacio. Infield in, 1 out, runner at third. Francisco misses down low. He was in a similar spot in Houston on Wednesday night, and he struck out to end the 10th.
And remember, one of the strikes, Rich, early in the count was a fastball off the plate away that he chased.
He has struck out, has an infield single, and has lined out. Breaking ball, drops in for a strike. A ball and a strike. John Buck is on deck.
Well, this isn't at bat for Bonifacio that can get you going again. It's a big situation. He's going to be emotionally uplifted if he gets the job done here, and he's going to lift up the team. So this is the type of bat with success can really get him going for a while here.
Ground ball, base hit, game's tied.
He needed it, the Marlins needed it, and he delivered. Great job right there, Bonnie.
That's a great job. You're absolutely right. He stayed on the ball. He got himself a good pitch to hit. He kept it on the ground. Now he's thinking about stolen base, too, to get in scoring position.
They say speed never slumps. Once Bonnie's on base, everybody's got to be heads up.
It started with the double. Gabby Sanchez moved Stanton to third on a 400-foot fly ball out. And now Bonifacio, who has yet to be thrown out trying to steal. He is 16 of 16 this year. He represents the winning run with Buck at the plate, and the outfield still very deep. Francisco. Boy, one look at Francisco's delivery should be enough for Bonifacio.
Unless he has a slide step or an alternate delivery, you're absolutely right.
Well, as a base stealer here, you say, okay, that was slow. Now I just have to trust what I see. If he speeds up, does a slide step, I shut it down. But I'm thinking go, go, go right here.
The 1-0. Not running. A strike.
These are areas where scouting reports really become important, because I'm sure Bonnie is checked on Francisco, watched him over and over. What kind of delivery does he have? What kind of move does he have?
And you know Gary Thurman's over there making sure he knows what the times are, trying to give him an idea of how quick he is to the plate.
The 1-1. Bonifacio runs. Taken for a strike. Not in time. 1-2 to Buck.
That's a tough pitch. I don't know if John Buck took it intentionally because it does put him in a 1-2 situation.
Yeah, I think the idea is you give the base stealer one strike, and then the rest is yours. Maybe Buck thought he had such a great jump that he took it anyway. But yeah, that's a tough pitch for a hitter to take.
Crowd on their feet now. Buck is 0 for 3. And Bonifacio creeping away from second. He's got a great lead. That's out. 2-2.
And remember, with the double switch, when things happened back in the 8th inning, Greg Dobbs is on deck. Remember, Dobbs stayed in the game in left field, so he's hitting in that number 9 spot.
Daniel Murphy trotted in to get in the conversation with Rob Johnson and Frank Francisco, and they may have been talking about trying to keep Bonifacio anchored at second base.
Yeah, talking about that lead that he had. It's all right. Get him thinking about Bonifacio. He'll make a mistake to Buck.
Now this situation is when your third base coach becomes important, because he's the one that's looking at the second base run and he's yelling, he's saying stay, stay, hold. You know, he's letting him know what the second baseman is doing when he's jockeying with him there at second base.
It's Joe Espada down the third base line. Marlins have tied it at 5 apiece. 1 out in the 9th. Almost hit him. He threw a strike on a breaking ball and then missed badly with this one.
Yeah, that slider really missed badly. You wonder if he'll stay slider or he'll go back to that fastball. He's thrown a lot of fastballs.
I don't think he has a feel for his breaking ball tonight. I don't think he felt good with it against Stanton. You know, Bonifacio, he's really not controlling his breaking ball well, so I think he's going to kind of hang his hat on his fastball right here.
Bonifacio at second. He's running on the pitch, and it's fouled back. He had a great jump, but obviously Buck trying to stay alive.
It's a situation where Francisco is focused so much on making a good pitch to John Buck that he forgot a little bit about Bonifacio when Murphy had reminded him a few pitches ago.
Pitchers are creatures of habit, and sometimes when the situation gets a little tense, they tend to go back to what they know, and sometimes they focus too much on trying to make a pitch, and they forget about that base runner out there.
Francisco ready. Bonifacio at second. Not running. Outside corner. Called strike 3. Now it's up to Greg Dobbs.
Well, he did go back to that fastball, made a perfect pitch with it.
That's pitch number 7 in the sequence, and it's right there at the knees on the corner. That is a perfect pitch.
Yeah, I think Buck may have thought it was a little down, but looking at the replay, it's a quality strike right there.
Now you've got Dobbs, who hit the ball hard his only time up. He lined to left in the 8th. The outfield is deep, and you've got extreme speed at second base. Dobbs, right center field. Here comes Bonnie. Ball game. Walk off.
It's a different Mets ball club right now. I mean, Marlins ball club. They knocked over Kearns in the middle there. They got a lot more confidence than when they played him in New York.
Boy, a lot of credit to the offense to battle back. Got the 1 run in the 8th inning. Battled in this inning to go ahead and win it on the walk-off by Dobbs. That's a great feeling for a ball club to do it against a ball club that swept them up in New York, too.
The advantage Dobbs had, a pinch hitter and a very good one. He already had an at-bat in this ball game, and he hit it hard his first time up. This one not as hard, but in a perfect spot. And we wondered what the script would be. Would it be Marlins bullpen implodes, Mets come back for a win like it was in New York? Or would it be Marlin bullpen implodes, but the Marlins hold on and win the game like it was on the road trip?
And, Rich, the offense doing a little bit of what we didn't see a whole lot of on the road. Getting some hits together, piecing together base hits, and some clutch ones. That one there by Dobbs.
Oh, that's the difference in this ball club now and 10, 12 games ago. Now they believe that the big hit can't happen. Now they believe that whoever's up there can get the job done. Started with Stanton, and Dobbs finished it off with a great hit to give us the walk-off right there.
Second career walk-off for Greg Dobbs. Let's go down to Craig Minervini. Craig?
Thank you very much, Rich. Nothing better than that feeling against Greg Dobbs. That never gets old, does it?
I'm going to steal a line from our hitting coach. I'm going to steal a line from Eduardo Perez. All in a day's work.
You can't make that bat ice cold, that's for sure. Tell me about the at-bat, your thought process as you were in the on-deck circle watching how Rodriguez was working.
I mean, I want to start about talking about our team. I mean, we've been playing so well the last 9-10 games here, and we're a resilient group. You know, we're not letting anything get us down, and you know, and that's all 25 guys, and I'm just happy I can participate. I mean, I'm going up there trying to not to do too much and get a pitch I can handle. If I get jammed, I get jammed. So what? But if it's a hit, it's a hit. It doesn't matter.
You knew right off the bat after Francisco threw it, you got enough of it to hit that nice sweet spot in between everybody.
I did. It nestled down for us, and they're all hits in the scorebook. Doesn't matter how hard you hit them or if they're sexy or if they're ugly. It's a hit, and more importantly, it's a win for our baseball club.
You had a lot of crazy wins on the road trip, Greg. You went 8-1. Didn't really blow anybody out. Won a couple of games tight. Got some breaks. In this game, it's kind of nice to do it in a different way, to come back yourself.
Absolutely, and we've done that in this park. We've come back a lot in this park. I don't know what it is about playing here at home, but you know, 1-run wins or blowout wins, they're all notches in the win column, and that's our goal. Our goal is to win every game. We believe we can win every game, and we have all 25 guys and staff here preaching that and believing in that. As long as we believe in ourselves, great things will come for this baseball club.
Giancarlo Stanton got things going there with that incredible ground ball line drive double to the wall.
I mean, does that kid hit balls hard, or does he hit balls hard? I've never seen anything like it. I mean, he's such a special talent, and he's very determined. He works very hard. He's such a good kid, and yeah, he did get it started for us, and then, you know, Bonnie gets on there with the infield in, gets a big hit for us as well. I mean, without his hit, we're not sitting here talking. So, Bonnie, Stanton, they all set the table, and I just came in and kind of tidied up the house for us.
Bobby, nice tidying.
Yeah, thanks.
How was that ice bath, by the way?
Pretty cold.
Okay, guys, let's go back upstairs to you.
And significant too, Stanton and Dobbs, heroes in the bottom of the ninth. Don't forget about the scoreless inning that Heath Bell worked, and to have their closer back for the Marlins is enormous. Two outstanding efforts. Stanton on his way up the runway, and the Marlins stay hot. The Fish have won 9 of their last 10. They snapped the Mets win streak at 5. The Marlins are now 2 over. The Mets 4 over. A ninth inning comeback. Greg Dobbs finishes. Marlins live around the bend. All the highlights and the reaction on a big night, on a Friday night in Miami.